It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neal, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Hey, Braves Country! Braves Country HD is bringing you Braves Country Baseball. Braves Country comes to you every Tuesday night and Friday night, and 2 bonus games every week. Hi, I'm Mac Magee, and we'll be bringing you play-by-play, pitch-by-pitch of your Atlanta Braves. It's free to listen. Please like and subscribe. YouTube.com/@Braves Country. Braves Country Baseball, for the fans, by the fans.
Here's good news. There's still a need for hundreds of thousands of cybersecurity professionals in the U.S. right now. And My Computer Career is training people to help meet the demand. No IT experience? No problem. Take the free career evaluation today. Start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. Grants covering up to 53% of the cost are available to those who qualify. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge, so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
Braves Country today. We're talking Southern sports. We go live 3 to 5 weekdays right here on WQEE. Braves Country today, Southern sports talk with the voice of Braves Country baseball, Mac Magee. Joined every day from sports analysts from all over Braves Country, talking college football, the NFL, Major League Baseball, and what's trending in the world of sports. Braves Country today. We go live 3 to 5 weekdays right here on WQEE.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
Hey, sports fans, it's Rod Peterson here, host of The Rod Peterson Show, inviting you to join us daily for 2 hours of Atlanta's funnest sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern. You'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's The Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon.
Done.
99.1 FM.
Well, the season's finally here. The Armchair Quarterbacks are back. Saturdays, 10 a.m., you'll be tailgating with the Armchair Quarterbacks. Mac Magee, Joey and Tones, and the rest of the Armchair Quarterbacks live, 10 a.m., Saturdays this fall. Talking college football, SEC, ACC, Big Ten, the NFL, fantasy football advice, and our picks against the spread. Right here on Braves Country HD, 99.1 FM, WQEE.
Yeah, the Armchair Quarterback.
Hey, Braves fans. Mac Magee here with Braves Country Radio. You can find us on youtube.com/@Braves Country. We're bringing you pitch by pitch, play by play of your Atlanta Braves all postseason long. Hear us right here on the radio or find us on YouTube today. You can jump in the chat with all the Braves fans during the game and listen along as the Braves march through Choptober. That's Braves Country Radio, youtube.com/@Braves Country.
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Here are your lines for the series in Major League Baseball heading into the ALDS and the NLDS, all of them. Game 1 on Saturday. 1 o'clock Eastern, FS1. You've got the Texas Rangers versus the Baltimore Orioles. Orioles minus 145 on the money line. The over-under is 8. 4:45 on FS1, Justin Verlander will be on the bump for the Houston Astros. Astros minus 155, the over-under 8. Phillies and Braves, the big one, TBS, 6 Eastern, and right here on Braves Country Radio. You can catch pitch by pitch, play-by-play, Braves Country Radio. Find us today, youtube.com/@Braves Country. Atlanta minus 205 on the money line, the over-under 8.5. We won't know the starters for sure until tomorrow, but expect Spencer Strider game 1, Max Fried in game 2. And at 9:20 Eastern on TBS, the final game of the evening. The Dodgers are at home against the Diamondbacks. Clayton Kershaw will go to the mound for LA. They are minus 205 on the money line. The over-under is 8. Real quick on the college football scoreboard as we look forward to a fun day on Saturday. Make sure to catch the Armchair Quarterback Kickoff Show, 9:30 Eastern, right here on Braves Country Radio. It all gets going noon Eastern. The Red River Rivalry. Number 3, Texas hosts number 12, Oklahoma. Longhorns, minus 5.5, the over-under 61. Maryland is at number 4, Ohio State. Buckeyes, 19.5-point favorites over under 57. LSU, number 23 in the land. They are a 5.5-point favorite at undefeated Missouri. That game can be seen on ESPN at noon Eastern. The over-under, 64.5. Number 5, Florida State Seminoles, 3:30 Eastern, ABC. They'll host the Virginia Tech Hokies. The Noles, 22.5-point favorites over under 53. The SEC on CBS sees number 11 Alabama, a 2-point favorite at Texas A&M. The over-under 46. Number 14 North Carolina hosts Syracuse, who's 4-1. North Carolina 9.5-point favorites. The over-under 59.5. And the number 1 Georgia Bulldogs hunker down in between the hedges. They'll face the number 20 Wildcats of Kentucky. Kentucky coming off a big W against the Florida Gators. The Wildcats are getting 14.5. The over-under 47.5. Number 10 Notre Dame is at number 25 Louisville. That game is the ABC Saturday night game of the night. The Fighting Irish, minus 6.5 over under 54. Number 2 Michigan on Peacock Saturday night. They're giving up 18.5 on the road at Minnesota. Number 16 Ole Miss, 11.5-point favorites at home against the Arkansas Razorbacks. The number is 62.5. Undefeated, untested Miami Hurricanes at home, 8 o'clock Eastern on the ACC network. The Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech, the over-under 57.5. Number 9 Southern Cal is at home against Arizona. 10:30 kickoff, ESPN. They're a 3-touchdown favorite. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Newnan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com/Braves Country.
Armchair.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
Armchair.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
Why did you get so drunk?
You got drunk. I'm just really exhausted.
What's in that cup?
Arma Cokes.
Do you have any idea how important this is? We're trying to save the pub crawl. Really, this is what you're doing? This is what you're doing?
Chief, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night. Try to take over the world.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Armchair. YouTube Live.
Radio station.
The radio station you can call your own. Do you know what listeners...
Magee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. We're here live weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key, and simulcasting on youtube.com/@BravesCountry. Your first choice for Southern sports. Good afternoon. I'm Mac Magee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. Whatever the hell that was, that damn audio file stopped twice this morning. This ain't starting out good, Doug. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man. Yeah, the armchair.
Always a bumpy ride here on Saturday mornings. We do it just a little different than what I usually have. A lot more stuff coming in, and I guess that slowed down the video 2 times, man. That thing just stopped on me. I was like, what is it doing? Is it buffering? What the hell is it doing? Anyways, how are you, sir? I'm not going to get the scoreboard up because I was afraid to add that to the fray because I didn't know the whole damn thing would crash. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good.
Are you ready for some playoff baseball?
Yeah, because this last week was kind of a letdown a little bit. Everybody's the brooms were out all week.
Yeah, it was brutal. They got to do something about it. I'm sorry, but it sucked. Nothing against the people the people who are fans of teams that won, but for those of us that are sitting there waiting for, the next shoe to drop, who are waiting for the next round, it was Dullsville, man. And the thing was that there weren't even like great endings to any. It would be one thing if, like, for say, look. Obviously, the one I was more locked into was the one I was doing, which was Marlins, Phillies. So I was a little more locked into that one, but that one was non-competitive. Miami did not belong in there. It was just a joke. And then when I would look over to I think the only one that was really worth a hoot was the one that I missed, which was the Arizona-Milwaukee one. But even them, they didn't have any last-minute heroics. I would say if you were to rank them, maybe Minnesota could possibly be higher, but there was zero offense in it. So there was some drama, but there was zero offense. And then the Tampa Bay one was just as bad as the Miami one. I mean, it was just pathetic.
And the Tampa Bay one is the one that shocked me out of how bad it was. I mean, Tampa Bay just talk about going out in a whimper. I can't even say it. They did this or they did that. I barely remember Tampa Bay being in the series. That's how bad it was.
I would say that, but man, they do this a lot, and it's really how their team's always constructed. The one reason why I'll give them a pass this year is because they had kind of addressed that they don't have offense, and they went out and look. They thought they were going to have Wander Franco down the stretch,
right?
We all know what happened with that. They thought they were going to have Brandon Lau down the stretch. Well, he got hurt right before the playoffs. So with all that, when you factor all that in, I can't really get on them too much because the simple fact of the matter is they were walking in there wounded. But yes, it was disappointing when you look at how many wins they had. And everyone just assumed that they were going to go out there. Well, they're the Rays, so they'll find a way to win, even though their entire team's on the IL.
I thought that at least the Rays would keep it close with their pitching. Keep the scoreline close and try to give what offense they have a chance to maybe put up a run or two or 3 and at least win one of these games. But one of the strengths of their team is this great pitching staff, and Eflin and Glasnow came out and collectively gave up 11 runs in 2 games.
Yeah, and that was a big kick in the grapes as well. Of course, not having Shane McClanahan was obviously a big factor, but even still, you expect Eflin and Glasnow to pitch a little better. But at the same token, the bats didn't show up, so would it matter? They scored one damn run in 2 games. Miami scored 2 runs in 2 games, and yeah, I know they were both built off of pitching, but you gotta find a way to score. You're not going to win many playoff games 1-0. Not in today's baseball. It's just not going to happen. I'm hoping that the Braves layoff doesn't affect them. I like what they did during the downtime. They addressed it much differently than they did last year. Last year, they kind of just did workouts and they did batting practice and they did simulated bullpens and all that. This year, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they treated it like a 3-game series, and they had starting pitchers on both sides pitching against lineups for both sides. They kind of split the teams up, and I like what they did. Now, will it work? Who the hell knows? But I like the fact that they tried something different. They obviously were planning for this all along, and my other thing would have been, man, why the hell didn't we do this last year? Because it seems like common sense that you would want to simulate actual game action, especially when you got 5 days off. So I'm hoping that's going to allow the bats to be ready. And the other thing, Doug, for the first time ever, the Atlanta Braves are in a playoff series, and 80% of the games aren't at 1:10 Eastern. So we're getting night baseball in Atlanta. It's 6 for folks who may not have caught it. Tonight, 6:07 first pitch. We're going to be doing the pregame show 1 hour before the game every single day. So every single game. So if you're jumping in on Braves Country Radio and you want to join on the fun, and even if you don't want to chat, but you want to watch the chat, they can get pretty entertaining. And I know this one's going to be entertaining because we're going to have Philly fans coming in giving us a hard time. So you might want to dial it up because you might have a little fun even if you don't want to be involved in the chat. But pregame show will come on about 5 o'clock. Then we'll step away real quick for the lineups and whatnot. First pitch is 6:07. Same thing on Monday. Wednesday, it's a 5:07 first pitch. So we'll come on at 4, etc. And then we're back to 6 o'clock on Thursday and 6 o'clock on next Saturday if it's needed. So I'm loving the fact that we're the prime time. Everybody is eating it. And I know a lot of this has to do with the fact no Yankees, no Red Sox, no Mets, no nothing in the playoffs. All they've got is they're like, well we got to hang our hat on Braves versus Phillies, 2 of your bigger markets, but they're not considered large markets, right?
Right.
So that's what we're looking at. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see how the Braves look. There was a part of me that sure was pulling for the Marlins because I wanted the easier route, and obviously it would have been a much easier route. But honest engine, I don't know, man. I'm kind of happy that we get a chance to right the ship and we get a chance to, as many fans have told me, to shut their effing mouths because they have been yapping and yapping and yapping all year long about how we don't want to face it. What do you mean we don't want to face you? You don't want to face us, son. We're the number 1 team in baseball. We have the home field advantage. We've got Spencer Strider that you haven't been able to hit. They keep pointing back to last year's playoff game in Philly. He was coming off that oblique injury. He had 0 innings off the IL. He hadn't pitched in a month, and he came out and got slaughtered in the second inning. I get that. He owns that. But this is his chance to shut him up. He can shut him up tonight, and he can really shut him up next Thursday or this coming Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited about that. Who do you like in the series and how many games?
I like the Braves. I think just you have the offensive firepower. No matter what challenges your pitching staff has right now, I just think you just got way too much firepower. I like the Braves. I'm going to give the Phillies some credit. That's why I've got the Braves winning in 5.
I got them winning in 4. I think they're going to get probably game 3 from us. They could sneak game 2. It is Wheeler on the mound. But we're going to have Fried. Here's hoping Fried doesn't come in stumbling and bumbling. He did pitch Tuesday, Braves country, so he is in theory ready to roll. But the reason why I keep pointing to that is because I think Spencer Strider is going to have a chance to shut up everybody on Thursday in Philadelphia and go, let's get it. And the other thing would be Ranger Suarez is going to pitch today. He's going to pitch Thursday. And he has had some good outings against Atlanta. But the one thing I'll say, they had opportunities to knock him out last year in the playoffs. They didn't do it. I don't think they missed this year. Much better offense. And the Braves have raked left-handed hitting this year. This isn't last year. The year before team where left-handed hitting tended to be our crux. They absolutely have raked. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yep.
Real quick, who do you got in the Rangers-Orioles series?
I got the Rangers in 4. With that offense, and I don't know why everybody thinks that Baltimore's pitching staff is halfway decent to carry them to a series. I think the way the Rangers are playing offense, this could be a dull 3 and out for the Rangers.
3 and out, the Rangers move on?
Yeah, the Rangers move on. I'm sorry.
I got Baltimore winning it, but I do think it's going to be a long series if they're going to win it. I get what you're saying. I got to give a team credit. It's got 101 wins. I got to give them credit. And they've got the home field advantage, and the Rangers have been like this all year long. If you would have asked me this question in mid-August, I'd be like, dude, the Rangers are going to smoke them. But they have been up and down. They're talking about Max Scherzer could be available to pitch in this series. That's advantage Baltimore. Max Scherzer sucks. I'm excited for this series. It's probably the one series out of all of them, not counting the Braves, that I'm going to be paying the most attention to. Twins Astros, what you got?
I got the Astros in 5.
Yeah, I think they're going to find a way. I'm hoping Minnesota Twins can pull off some kind of Cinderella story. It'd be fun. But, man, I can't go against them because the Twins, until a couple of days ago, they always twinned, right? They always went to the playoffs and didn't show up. And I'm not convinced that their offense is good enough to knock out the Astros. I do think their pitching is much better than it has been in past years.
Yes.
But it's not going to be enough when you've got Verlander, you've got Valdez, you've got a whole litany of pitchers who have a lot of postseason experience. I got to go with the Astros. And what about Dodgers Diamondbacks? You give the Diamondbacks any chance?
I am, because which Dodgers it'll depend on tonight how Kershaw pitches tonight. I have a feeling that the Diamondbacks might pull it out in 5.
I think the Dodgers are going to win pretty handily.
Really?
Yeah. I think them getting knocked out last year, just like the Braves sticking in their craw. And I think we're headed for a Dodger Braves showdown. Part 17. I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's turning into Celtics Lakers, right? But I think they're going to win because they're the Diamondbacks and their pitching is going to falter. But it's going to be fun. I'm going to be pulling for Corbin Carroll and all the young guys on Arizona. They got a handful of players that I'm a big fan of. I love Christian Walker, but man, in a perfect world, the Braves beat the Phillies, the Diamondbacks beat the Dodgers. We end up facing the Twins in the World Series, but none of this is going to come in. All right, let's go ahead and get into the National Football League.
The autumn wind is a pirate, blustering in from sea. With a rollicking song he sweeps along, swaggering boisterously. His face is weather-beaten. He wears a hooded sash, with a silver hat about his head, and a bristling black mustache. He growls as he storms the country, a villain big and bold. And the trees all shake and quiver and quake as he robs them of their gold. The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The All-American man.
All right, Dougie Fresh. You got yourself a Monday night football game this week. Are you excited about that?
It's always fun to watch the Raiders on Monday night. Oh, wait, unless it's 1985. But yeah, I'm ready for this because I think our future, our whole season is going to come down to this game. Because if the Raiders come out and play like they've played the last couple of weeks, dysfunctional, something's going to have to give. Mr. McClown has got to go. If this goes sideways, if the Packers come out and make us look as bad as we played, they got to go. I mean, you got fans at the game last week screaming at Mark Davis to do something. I mean, that's how bad. And there's rumors now that he is starting to lose the locker room too.
Now, obviously, you follow it much more than I do. Your ears to the ground much more than I am on that. I feel like he's lost the locker room. They're sitting at 1-3. They lose this game. They go to 1-4. I don't think he would get fired right now. When is their bye week? Do you have that in front of you?
No, actually I don't.
All right. Well, my guess would be whenever that Raiders bye week is, if things don't improve and don't improve fast, I can pull it up in a second. I thought you had it in front of you. You're looking at, I mean, he's basically dead man walking.
Well, the interesting thing is our bye week isn't until week 13.
Okay, well, he may not make it that long. Now, what he could do, I'm gonna make a prediction. Let me look at the schedule real quick because you can usually read the tea leaves on this. Let's say they don't win, although I think they do win. But let's say they don't win, and you go to their schedule and you look how it plays out, and so you'd be 1-3. That's a Monday night game. Never mind.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking to see if there was a Thursday game where you could fire them on a Friday morning and then have 10 days to prepare, but that's not in the cards either. They don't play till Thursday until week 15. If they beat, okay, there is also an argument that they could get on a 3-game winning streak here. They're playing the Packers at home against New England, and at the Bears. Then you go to a Monday night game at Detroit. I mean, if you're sitting there 4-3, it's going to be hard to fire them. But
if
they lose on Monday, they go to 1-4. He could be fired before that Monday night game because they may just want to reset the whole thing and have an excuse why they're on Monday night football, why they're looking bad. Or he gets fired right after that Monday night game. It's in Detroit, and that could get slap ugly.
Yeah.
Real quick, give me a prediction.
I guess I'm going to stay pessimistic. Packers in technically an upset. I've got them winning 27-16.
You got the Packers winning, huh?
Yeah, and it's because of losing that locker room that I'm saying that. Because I've seen this with other teams before. If they truly lost that locker room, the Raiders will not play. I've seen the Raiders do it before, and I've seen teams like the Bears do it before. You can tell they go out there, they purposely miss blocks. If we start seeing those kind of shenanigans Monday night, then you know they truly lost that locker room. Because they'll do it.
Give me the Raiders to win this one 24-21. I'm not sold on the Packers yet, and I'm giving the Raiders the benefit of the doubt mainly because they're at home. The only problem is that I keep forgetting when I make these kinds of they don't have a home field advantage.
No.
And Green Bay does travel well, so is it going to feel like it's a home field or not? So
Same
that's
thing like with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, I was watching the game and I thought I was in
Green Bay
Pittsburgh.
travels. I mean, they say they travel. What it means is they have bandwagon fans everywhere that,
Right.
pulled for them because they were good. Man, oh man. I'm gonna stick with my gut that says Green Bay's not quite as good as people think they may be, and that they're going to struggle on we'll call it a neutral site, and the Raiders pull this one out too. And look, then they get two very winnable games. You can get to 4-3 going into that Monday Night Showdown. You might have something. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to step aside. Joey and Tones are on the way, and we're going to get it. Today is Alabama Texas A&M Day, right, Doug?
Yes, sir.
Well, guess what? We're going to get going. These are called armadillo eggs. Phenomenal. Y'all might want to check this out and jot this recipe down. This is phenomenal stuff, and they're actually really easy to execute, believe it or not. We will be back in a flash here on Braves Country Radio's Armchair Quarterback Kickoff Show. Okay, so this week, Alabama, Texas A&M. What we decided to do was armadillo eggs. If you're not familiar with them, really good. Wife's idea, so we want to give her credit for that. All right, this is what we're going to do with them. We are going to cut and clean your jalapenos. When you cut and clean the jalapenos, you're then going to boil them for 5 minutes. It's going to get all the seeds out, all that nonsense, right? The whole 9 yards. Then we're going to do a cream cheese, and we talk about the Holy Grail, which is equal parts salt, pepper, and garlic salt. You put the Holy Grail in with the cream cheese, and you stuff them in the jalapenos as such. Then what we're going to do, you see these little sausage balls right here. We're going to put the sausage balls around the jalapenos, one on each side. It's about 2.5 ounces each. And you're going to just kind of cup them. And once you get them good and formed, doesn't have to be perfect, but when you get them good and formed, you are then going to take a piece of bacon and wrap it around. So you're going to wrap it around the bacon. And you shouldn't have to apply any kind of a substance to keep it wrapped, because the bacon and the sausage should just cook together as such. And then finally, we're going to take some brown sugar and top it. That's going to give a good, nice caramelization, a good, nice glaze. And then we're going to put this in the air fryer for about 15 minutes at about 400 degrees. Just check it, and there you have it. We'll have the final product here in 1 second. All right, so this is the armadillo egg. We're doing it once again because of Texas A&M at home against Alabama, and this should be a pretty good ball game. Could be an upset for the Aggies as they pulled off 2 years ago. Once again, armadillo eggs, like we said, about 15 minutes, 400 degrees in your air fryer. Just kind of feel it out, but this should be the finished product. See how pretty that is? And that's how you know it's cooked off inside. Bama, A&M, Jimbo versus Saban. Let's get it. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Noonan, Georgia, home of Braves Country with Mac Magee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Key and YouTube.com at Braves Country.
It's the best in sports and entertainment, and get locked in and locked down with Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. with your host, me, Ryan O'Neal, each and every morning, right here with the best in sports and entertainment, all the way from professional sports to college sports to River Dragons hockey and everything in between, including some of the very best local and national guests. It's the Rhino Radio Penitentiary, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Fridays, right here on 99.1 FM WQEE.
Are you looking for a reliable dental practice that not only cares about your teeth, but is friendly to work with? How about one that offers great deals and new patient promotions? Well, your search is over. Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton, Georgia is committed to giving you the biggest and brightest smile. Right now, get a $99 new patient special, including x-rays and exam. Maybe you're looking for veneers. Most Valuable Smiles veneer special includes one free veneer with every 5 purchased. Or get that bright white smile you've always wanted by taking advantage of an exclusive $100 off Zoom whitening treatment when you book today. And don't forget that 2022 is almost over. That means most insurance policies will reset by the new year, and to avoid losing that extra money, you need to use it or lose it. Book an appointment today with Most Valuable Smiles in downtown Eatonton to lock in these exclusive deals. Call 706-623-0318 or visit mostvaluablesmiles.com.
Third Saturday in October, and the show is on one more time in Knoxville, Tennessee.
We are live in Tallahassee, the capital of the great state of Florida.
There's no law against scalping tickets in this part of the country, and premium prices have been paid. That's Desmond Howard going in motion on 2nd down and 5 for Michigan, playing on real grass at Michigan Stadium. Throw it to the sideline. It is intercepted. Florida State was sitting and waiting for it, and Terrell Buckley has scored a touchdown. How do you do?
56-yarder. Does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game. Auburn's going to win the football game.
Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone for the play. The most amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California.
It's thrown out. He's going to go deep. And I mean deep. And I mean touchdown, Florida. Tyree Cleveland in a miracle finish. A Hail Mary that's full of grace for the Gators.
Barkley trying to bounce it.
And doesn't escape. Saquon Barkley in the clear. Still going. Saquon Barkley all the way to the end zone. Electric. 79 yards.
It's a 31-30 game, and what does Nebraska do?
I have not seen the kicker come on the field, and I don't think he's coming on the field. Tom Osborne made this decision a long time ago. He's decided to go for 2 and take his shot at winning. I commend him for it.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska.
And if in 48 seconds they become the winner, they certainly deserve to be national champions.
Here come the Seminoles of Florida State, one of the great traditions in college football, and this becoming one of the nation's favorite rivalries. It's a battle for flagging rights and recruiting advantages in the state of Florida as the Gators come calling, and Chief Osceola ready to get it started. College football. A matchup from the state of Florida. It's the Gators against the Seminoles on an overcast day in Tallahassee.
Moody flushed, throws it down. Caught by Boston College. I don't believe it.
Today, we've got number 1 Seminoles against number 2 in the capital city of Tallahassee.
back from the big game. Did you have fun?
It was a good time, brother. Let me say this. I haven't been to a Big Ten tilt in quite some time, and the teams were a little bit lackluster, but it was still a fun time. Friday night lights, Big Ten football, always a treat.
Nebraska won that game, 20-7?
Yeah, I'm telling you what now. My buddies.
I got some good cheese on that one. I
got
him at +3.5. I was like, man, I can't turn that down. Illinois looked terrible.
Even my buddy who's a U of I fan was saying that was free cheese, and he's concerned. I'm concerned. I'm not sure if they'll win a game the rest of the season, U of I, that is.
I haven't looked at their schedule, but that would not be good. It's good for Matt Rule. Good to see him get off to a good start. 3-3, considering the fact that he's just taking over this program. I think he's done a pretty good job so far.
I do as well, and you got a lot of flack and fluck at first because he, started slow, but a new coach against some big-time opponents out of the gate, you're not going to win those games necessarily, so he's held his own over there for sure to start.
We're waiting for Joey to – his computer won't fire up. I told him to quit downloading weird stuff, but anyway.
That's why we got to see his hands during
Exactly, man. Joey's sticky laptop won't fire up, so we're waiting on it. I sent him the link that he can use via phone, but we'll see if he figures that one out. That one might be infected as well.
Multiple servers going down.
The phone and the laptop are stuck together. So we'll wait for him to come on before we talk Louisville, Notre Dame. If either one of y'all see him pop into the backstage, let me know. Keep looking over there. It's hard to keep an eye on both. Let's get into Big Ten football, Tones. I'd say the big one of the day is probably Maryland, Ohio State. We'll see what Maryland has. Mm-hmm. They're undefeated, but because they haven't played anybody, they're unranked. And now it keeps moving down. It's now 17.5 point to Ohio State. I feel like this is a trick. Mm-hmm. I feel like people are jumping all over this, and you're going to end up with like an Ohio State beatdown. But when it first started, I think that line was almost 21. So it was either 20 or 20.5. And it has moved down. Yesterday it was 18.5, and I thought it was going to move up. It is not. Money has come in on Maryland. I don't know if it's sharp money or if it's just money, but money has come in on Maryland. So they're trying to get folks to bet on Ohio State. We'll see what happens there. What is your inkling that this game's in Ohio? The one thing I will say, I will put this on upset alert because Ohio State could be peering ahead to next week's showdown.
Mm-hmm.
What say you?
Yeah, this is a tricky one for Maryland. If Maryland wants any hope of New Year's bowl game or beyond, they definitely have to win this game. And Ohio State, quite frankly, this year hasn't looked like the typical Ohio State of years past, right? They haven't been just smoldering every game out there. With that being said, I do think Maryland keeps it close. I think they keep it around the 17 to 21 point mark. Will they officially get that backdoor cover? I would take the 18 points. I feel like that's too much to lay down in this one. I think Ohio State wins by a pretty good chunk, but 18 points is a little bit too much to pass up for me.
So it's not next week, it's the following week. So there's probably not much of a chance of Ohio State peering ahead.
No, because Ohio State's at Purdue next week, I believe.
Yeah. The Purdue one could be upset alert.
Mm-hmm.
Because Purdue's just good enough to not beat Ohio State, but be a pain in the ass.
Correct.
Right? Doug, what say you? Does Ohio State cover this spread 17.5?
Yeah. I got them projected to probably win by 24. I mean, I don't think Maryland's ever beaten Ohio State in any, head-to-head competition. So, and I don't see this year being any different than any other.
Badminton or volleyball, nothing that they haven't beaten.
Nothing. Not a thing. Not a thing.
Winks.
Not even water polo. But no, seriously though, I got them winning by 24.
Yeah, because it's in the shoe, man.
Mm-hmm.
I just have a hard time. I'm pulling for a good game. It would be fun. Tua's brother is still the quarterback there, and he has had a good season so far. Once again, if you're getting excited about Maryland being 5-0, they have played Towson. What? Toll House? No, Towson. Toll House Cookies? No, Towson. Charlotte. Virginia, not a good Virginia team. At Michigan State, we know the turmoil that's been going over there, and I believe they played them the week after the whole thing went down when they fired Home Skillet. And then at home against Indiana, we all know this is not – it's funny, a couple of years ago, if we would have been doing the college football realignment draft, Tones, I probably would have been thinking about drafting Indiana. They are terrible now.
Yeah, I mean, that might be the only game Illinois has a chance at left on their schedule, home against Indiana. They're so bad, and they've reached the bottom of the Big Ten. They used to really never hit below that midway point of tumbling down, but, man, they're in the bottom of the barrel.
So what is the real story why Joey's not here? Did he hook up with the biggins and he's trying to get her out the bachelor pad right now?
Is he getting Grimace out of his house? He could be. She stayed the night. No, I know he had something last night.
Is that her name, Grimace?
Should have been ready to roll this morning. Hey, I didn't get home till
literally.
I didn't get home till 2:30 in the morning, and I'm here, so I really can't.
Yeah, but you're, for all intents and purposes, a married man at this point, right? You're
what, for better or for worse.
Right. Your wild days on that are over. If Joey got all liquored up, went and stumbled into the wrong the wrong watering hole at the wrong time last night, look, they're just like gremlins. Don't feed them after dark, man, because you're never going to get rid of them. And for that matter, don't feed them in the morning either. You got to always go back to that How I Met Your Mother episode where Barney's explaining how he keeps women from wanting to nest at his house, and everything says single man. Like he only owns one bath towel. He's got one pillow. He's got like an entire thing of porn that's lit up as soon as you turn the corner to run them off. Anyways, we'll see if he shows up. If not, we're going to get into this Notre Dame game here in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, Big Ten, you do have Michigan at Minnesota, Peacock tonight. Yeah, I am not firing up that app and figuring out how to log in just to watch that. So I'll scoreboard watch. We'll see what happens there. But for all intents and purposes, that game doesn't exist in my world. 18.5 points at Minnesota, and Minnesota. That's another program that a few years ago we would have been swearing up and down was on the uprise.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at what they've done now. If you look back on what they've done, yeah, they beat Louisiana, and it ain't Louisiana State. They beat Louisiana. They lost to Northwestern, who's bad this year. They got smoked at North Carolina, and then their other two wins, Eastern Michigan and Nebraska's very first game under Matt Rule, they won that one 13-10. When I want to say, Tones, we were doing a show that day, I want to say they were like 7 to 10 point favorites.
Yep, they were.
So Michigan has been just bludgeoning teams. Anyone give them a chance of pulling off this upset?
Not the way they've been playing this year. I think you've hit the nail on the head. Minnesota years ago seemed like one of those programs, especially in the Big Ten, that were up and coming, becoming more of a prominent thing. And now they're just slow out of the gate. It seems like they really can't get nothing going. And PJ Fleck at one point was one of those hot incoming coaching prospects, their head coach, and he hasn't gotten a head coaching job elsewhere yet. So that he's stumbling a little bit and the program's stumbling a little bit. And I thought Minnesota would be in a much better place. I do not see them covering tonight. I think Michigan wins this one pretty handily.
Fun fact. When Willie Taggart got fired at Florida State, there were a lot of FSU fans that were wanting PJ Fleck to come down to Tallahassee.
Mm.
And they didn't show much interest and some of the FSU fans were ticked off. They were wanting to go after him. His name's escaping me right now, but the head coach for Iowa State.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Campbell, yeah. So those were the two big names, and when they ended up hiring Norvell, everyone's like, "Oh, that's cool," but we wanted a big name. Like, I don't know if Iowa State and Minnesota head coach is a big name. So let's just calm it all down. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. And of course, time has shown that they actually made the right decision. But there was a hot and heavy. What are they doing right after they didn't go after Fleck and they didn't go after Campbell?
Always something.
By the way, did y'all see Matt Campbell get into it with the fan a few weeks back that was heckling him as he was going into the stadium? And he turned around and gave him the what, and then he had to give the whole "I'm sorry for my actions" thing after the game.
People, I mean, flip-flap all you want, but the cameras are on you. You're going to have to face the music eventually when you're a head coach.
Yeah, what are you doing? What are you in the world are you doing even thinking about that?
He's probably just frustrated. He lost half his team to gambling.
Well, yeah. Fair. I bet he didn't see that coming. All right, real quick, Notre Dame. Doug, I know you're a big Notre Dame fan. They're heading into Louisville, and it's one of these games that's kind of going under the radar because it's Louisville, right? If this is football season, people will be locked into number 10 Notre Dame versus Louisville. This is very Duke game last week feeling.
Yeah,
they
definitely
are giving
that.
up a touchdown. What say you?
I would say Notre Dame needs to be very careful. But I think their defense, they're also getting two of the receivers back. I think they win this game, but that point margin should be. I wouldn't give it any more than 5 or 6 points. I think Louisville has a good offense, and look for maybe Louisville to burn them in the second half with a couple of big plays. I think Notre Dame still pulls it out.
Well, folks will probably remember that the Louisville was my preseason dark horse to get to the ACC championship game, and nothing is going to. Even if they lose this game, this isn't considered an ACC conference game. Right. They are on that trajectory at this point. 6.5 points, 7 points, depending on where you get it. Where are you leaning on this one, Tones?
Man, this is tough. Louisville is really good. I mean, they've looked even a little better than I thought. I thought the season Notre Dame
had. You got some syndrome going on there, Tones. You're buffering, dragging.
Let's see. Let me try and fix it. But
okay,
I like Louisville to cover. I like Notre Dame to win, but Louisville to cover.
I am staying away from this one. If I do anything, I'm actually going to tease it to get more points with Louisville. Yeah. I feel like this is a dangerous spot. You came out of a very physical game with Duke. Man, how many have we ever said that in the history of college football? But they get a very physical game with Duke. They've had a couple of really tough games this year, very early on. And this is the college football side of it. And here's the other thing. This is the looky-loo. This is upset alert. This is looky-loo. Next week, Notre Dame hosts number 9 Southern Cal, and they could be ramping up for that, excited for that. But here's the news flash, Notre Dame. You lose this week, that's all for naught. No one's going to care.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some big games left on their slate. I'll tell you what, Notre Dame's playing a hell of a schedule this year. I don't think it was by design. A few years back when they told Notre Dame they were playing Duke and Louisville back-to-back in between Ohio State and Southern Cal. They said, well, good, those will be good warm-up games. And now you look at it, they still have Southern Cal. They still have to go to Clemson. And Clemson, despite previous reports, they are not dead. Clemson played a good game last week.
Mm-hmm.
They do get a bit of a breather because after the Southern Cal game, they get a bye week and then they get a tune-up against Pitt at home, which Pitt's not what Pitt has been.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this is such a big game for Notre Dame. But, man, these are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. Do they see the big picture, or did they go through this week tired, half-assed in practice, going to go in, just assume they're going to beat Louisville because they're Notre Dame? This is a looky-loo game to me, man. This is one that folks better be careful with.
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough of a point spread for me to take it as a stupid underdog because I usually like to take one a little higher than this. But man, it's got all the ingredients. You're coming off a tough victory. You're on the road. You've got a tough opponent next week. It's got all the ingredients of the upset. What's the score, Doug?
I don't think it's going to be a big score. I think Notre Dame will win 16 to 10.
Man, a low scoring affair. All right. What say you? Tones, what's your call?
I'm going with 26-24. Notre Dame.
26-24. I'm going to hold off for my actual prediction to the end of the show because there's a reasoning for it. I don't want to tip my hand, but I really think this one's going to come down to the wire. And if I was leaning one way or the other on just the normal point spread, I would be taking Louisville on the points. Mm-hmm. Just because if I can have that in my back pocket, Notre Dame, this doesn't feel like a game Notre Dame's going to win going away. Even a backdoor cover could be possible. And Brome, man, I'm telling you right now, Brome is doing things, and he's had a very easy schedule to start it off, which is it's one of the reasons why I took Louisville as my dark horse to get into the ACC championship game, because they don't face Clemson, they don't face Florida State, like they don't have those daunting, showdowns that normally knock someone off their perch, right? And they're not going to lose out on, you lost Clemson, so you're not getting the tiebreak. They don't have any of that. But this is the game that, man, if Louisville can win this, Louisville is going to go onto the national stage of Look Out, and they could make that. This could actually make like a Florida State Louisville ACC title game have some salt, have some sauce to it. All right, real quick in the NFL. Want to hit up a couple of games real quick before Doug has to jump off here. We're looking at this week, and it's kind of funny that the NFL week number, what is this, week 5? That we're going into?
Mm-hmm.
The games of national interest are going to be back-to-back with Chiefs Vikings at 4:25 and Cowboys 49ers that's a Sunday night game, NBC. Chiefs are giving up 3.5 on the road. I'm telling you, this line stinks.
Mm-hmm.
Because it feels like the Chiefs should be much higher favorites. And then you get the 49ers and Cowboys. And remember, that was a hard-fought game last year. San Francisco feels like that they have just been invincible. They're just rolling through teams, but they haven't played the toughest slate. If you're going to give me 3.5 points in both of those games, I'm willing to take the Vikings and the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm steering clear of them both, but I could definitely see me teasing those two.
Mm-hmm. I like Minnesota in that point. I was telling Joey earlier this week. I don't know. I think they're going to play tough at home. I could see them losing by a field goal, but I think Minnesota covers that one.
What about you, Doug?
I still have the Chiefs winning, but not. I agree with Tones. If we were playing a pure game, and I'll explain what I mean by that, I'd be fine. But with the referees constantly interfering in Kansas City's games all the time, it seems, that's the only reason I picked the Chiefs. I think the referees will decide that game. And
the money. Follow the money, because you know that the NFL is now giving Taylor Swift free advertisements for that movie that she has coming out, where it's like I don't know, they're following her tour, whatever it is. I call it her Madonna movie, because Madonna was the first one to do that, put one of those movies out where they follow their tour.
Mm-hmm.
They're giving her free advertisements in the games that she appears at, because they know that that's bringing eyeballs to the field. I mean, to the screen.
Right.
It's kind of a give and take. They're saying, well, if it was her PR department that's doing it, it's not Swift herself, but they're basically saying, hey, if we're going to have her show up and you're going to have cameras showing her, and you're going to have cameras showing her walk into the stadium and get eyeballs on your product, then we need a little give and take. She's getting $1 million of free advertisement for every single one of those games she shows up at.
That's insane.
And then the funny thing is, it's probably well worth it for the NFL.
Yeah.
Because I mean, her games are, I can call them her games. The Chiefs games are going through the roof. And I know this has got a lot to do with, look, once that movie premieres and whatnot, and fizzles a little bit, she'll probably quit showing up at the stadium. Plus she's going on a tour. But right now, she and the Chiefs are the story. And I'm sure there's some pressure on both sides going, hey, y'all better not break up during this. Yeah. Y'all better get this to last till at least Thanksgiving. Even if you got to lie about it.
We need some holiday music in motion. Let's go.
Even if y'all quit going to Pound Town and just, y'all just, be friendly. Just come on now. Don't be screwing things up. Oh, have you looked at the Chiefs schedule, by the way? Thursday night, this coming Thursday night, they're the Amazon Prime Video game. At home against terrible Denver. Amazon's going to have something to entice her to show up.
Yeah, they might treat her like Deion Sanders got treated by college football at the beginning of the year. They might have some celebrities there, red carpet rolled out. You never know what the Swifties are going to do.
I don't know what what her tour schedule is like, but if she's still hanging around, check this out. Tell me this won't be huge. You ready for something here?
Let's hear it.
Kansas City and Miami playing across the pond.
Ooh.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I don't know if that's I'm not 100% sure if that's one of the let me see. Do they have the location? They don't have the location on this. I know they're playing some games in Germany this year, or a game in Germany, so I don't know if it's that one. I believe that is a London game. Either way, it's going to be huge for ratings over there. If she shows up to the London game, and the NFL Network, it's on the NFL Network. It's not on normal TV. Holy crap. They're going to try to get them married at halftime at midfield.
Jackson Mahomes is the altar boy.
Yeah.
Travis Kelce going, I don't want to get married. You're going to get married. You're going to like it. You're going to get married.
Did you
down.
Yesterday, he had a press conference yesterday, and he said he said something so cheesy that dating Taylor Swift is better than winning the Super Bowl for him so far right now. It's like, what are you talking about? What are you doing? I'm so over this. It's so played out. It feels like a Lifetime movie production. It's like, move on, NFL. Nobody wants to hear about it anymore.
All right, we got to take a quick break. Doug's walking off. Bobby's joining. And Spank Division's back. So he's back. All right, baby. You cleaned the keyboard. Good for you. Doug, what is your lock? What is your stupid underdog pick?
Stupid underdog pick is Oklahoma over Texas. the last Big River Classic going to be played next year. It'll be played in the SEC. And my lock is take the over-under in the Arizona USC game is at 72. Take the over. That's my lock. USC isn't stopping anybody.
Arizona USC over 72, and you're taking the
Oklahoma over Texas.
I'm showing 5.5, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, brother. What's the one big thing that's going to happen this weekend?
One thing is, I think Texas is going to shock everybody, and I don't think the Orioles have a chance. And I know everybody thinks the opposite, but I think the Rangers are going to make a declaration for a World Series run.
All right. You're putting a lot of faith in that Max Scherzer arm, but okay.
I'm just putting a lot more faith in their bats.
All right, we're going to be back in a flash when we come back. The guys are going to be – we're going to get into the Southeastern Conference, and we'll get Joey's take on that Louisville-Notre Dame game. Big game. We'll be back in a flash here on Braves Country Radio, Armchair Quarterback Kickoff Show. And that's a word salad.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ. Lays it in. Right at 1 second left. What a play by Bird.
Here's good news. There's still a need for hundreds of thousands of cybersecurity professionals in the U.S. right now. And My Computer Career is training people to help meet the demand. No IT experience? No problem. Take the free career evaluation today. Start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. Grants covering up to 53% of the cost are available to those who qualify. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
ACC football covered like no other here on the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Out of the shotgun, third down and about 10. Ward getting some pressure, getting more, gets it away. He's got fire, wide open, touchdown, Florida State. That's what Ward will do to you.
Georgia Tech 45, Nebraska 21. It's now up to the voters. They look like the number one, don't they?
All right, 6 seconds to go. Maurer throws it up for grabs. There's 5 defenders back there. Game runs out. And Clemson wins the national championship of college football.
This is for the national championship for Nebraska. And for Miami, an absolutely miracle year. The dream season as they come back from a bad loss opening day to go to 11 straight wins, and in all probability, when the votes are in, a first ever national championship for the Hurricane.
Take the scenic route in the new Hyundai Santa Fe, the family SUV with available H-Track all-wheel drive to help you travel way off the beaten path. Find new adventures together in Hyundai Santa Fe.
Welcome back to Braves Country. Mac Magee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 to 5 p.m., drive time on WQEE.
Yo, you don't even know what stupid is.
Welcome back. Bobby, Joey joining us. Bobby, show us where it hurts, man.
I mean, goodness, what a stark contrast from the Tennessee game. We got absolutely.
No one wanted to listen to me. I'm trying to tell y'all.
Look,
they were frauds. Nobody.
Look, I get it. I get it. I understand. You did predict Kentucky to win that game. I'll give you that. Nobody saw it. No, not one of us said it'd be that much of a blowout, though. That was just absurd.
I just felt like my keys to the game were consistent and true. That Florida wasn't going to be able to move the ball on them, and that Kentucky was going to be able to run down their throats.
Yeah,
now,
and
I think
Ray Davis is incredible. I mean, he had a monster.
It's not just
game.
Davis; it's that offensive line. They were plowing through them, and they're not going to be able to do that against Georgia today. By the way, and that's going to be the bigger eye opener to folks is when they see this and they go, "Man, if Florida got killed by Kentucky ought to be able to hang. They're probably not going to be able to hang today. They're probably going to run into a wall and not be able to move the ball." And we showed that last week that Kentucky doesn't really have much of a passing game. So if they can't run the ball, it's going to be an issue.
Yeah, I do think they're going to have a tough time against that Georgia front compared to the Florida game. I do think they'll still be able to get something going on the ground, though. I mean, they looked
You know what
incredible.
this reminds me of? Do you remember? Was it last year or the year before? Arkansas came in undefeated. Georgia,
Yeah.
they were like, "Oh man!" And we all took the bait. We're like, "Dude, they're getting like 21 points.
Yep.
They're gonna hang in there." And it was like midway through the first quarter, it was like 28-0. You're like, "God, what the?" Well, there goes my ticket. Just rip it up.
The only reason I'm high on Kentucky with the points today is just because of how Georgia hasn't really blown anybody out of the water this season. I mean, they let South Carolina have their way with them in the first half. Granted, that game they came back and won that pretty handily, but they haven't really been blowing teams out. They don't look as invincible as they have in the past.
The one thing I'll say in that defense, it was the kid's first start at quarterback on the road in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan Hare is not an easy place to win. So that's number one. Number two, Auburn's defense is actually pretty darn good, and that's how they kept him into the game. Now, Auburn's defense isn't good enough to where if they're dropping the ball and throwing interceptions or doing 3 and outs that they can overcome that. And that's what Hugh Freeze is trying to fix. Hugh Freeze is going to try to fix that offense. It's not going to happen this year, but Hugh Freeze will build something at Auburn. But that's my one pushback. I get the thought process, and I also believe that it's not just Florida fans who want it to be close to go, see, we don't suck. But it's also fans around the country going, dude, they barely beat Kentucky. You're telling me there's a chance. There's really no chance.
Look, I could
Georgia's
care less if how this game goes in terms of Florida. We got embarrassed regardless. That's not going to change anything. But I do think Kentucky's going to keep this game fairly close, just because Georgia's shown that they're not blowing teams out, even teams that they should be blowing out.
You're trying to tell me late Saturday night, whatever libations you might be, I don't know if you drink alcohol or if you're, drinking Yoo-Hoo and playing video games, whatever. You're trying to tell me late Saturday night, Kentucky either pulls off an upset or beats or is very close to Georgia. That doesn't make you feel better going into the Georgia game as opposed to Georgia. Like, what if Georgia just manhandles Kentucky and you're like, God bless?
Well, I don't think Florida has much of a shot against Georgia anyways. I think Georgia's going to probably go out there and beat Kentucky. I think it's going to be a fairly close game, though. What?
They cover. It's 14.
Does Kentucky cover?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or Georgia. Either way, it's 14.5 points spread.
I'm very confident that Kentucky's going to cover.
I'm not as confident. I want to be. I want to go, all right, 14. It's because it's fun to take the underdog, especially when it's 14.5 points.
Yeah.
It's college football. It gets very dangerous because
I thought South Carolina, though. I thought South Carolina would have been that wake-up call for Georgia. I think them going into that second half, being down as many points as they would have been that wake-up call that, hey, we can't let – in these SEC games, we can't let teams keep it close at all. But they had a close game against Auburn, and it's not a good Auburn team either. So I don't think it's the same Georgia team as you have passed.
And it was their first road SEC game. And here's the other caveat. It's under the lights in Athens tonight.
Mm-hmm. Look, whatever the circumstances may be, I haven't seen enough from this Georgia team to give them 14.5 against Kentucky. A good Kentucky team, mind you. Not great, but they're a good Kentucky team. They're undefeated at this point in the season. They're ranked. I just don't have the confidence to give them 14.5.
Joey.
Yes, sir.
How are you, sir?
Between my computer and our heater at the home, hopefully Notre Dame outperforms both of those. But look, I'm looking forward to the Irish game today against Louisville.
Is it cold where you're at?
It's about, I don't know, Tones, what would you say? It's probably 50s right now. It's 50s. Yeah. So
upper 40s, lower 50s right now, I would say.
Does it make you feel better that I have my air conditioning kicking my window unit along with my main unit because it's hot in this studio?
All right, so we'll call it even. We'll call it the jack of all trades. But I am looking for. You can't overlook Louisville today. One of my Power 4 teams, by the way, as we all know, going back, as Stephen A. Smith would say, Louisville knows how to break it down. Okay, let me give it to you. But No, all things aside, Sam Hartman and the boys need to come out firing today. I believe the spread.
If you're gonna do a Stephen A. impression, you got to say something racist. Come on.
I'm basically white. That's S9, S10, S11. Okay, I'm a white guy in a black man's body. But anyways, getting back to it, Sam Hartman. They need to have a great offensive day. The 6.5 points. You know what? I think Notre Dame could play pretty well today and outperform how they played against Duke last week. I know their offense has been sputtering in big games. If you look back at Ohio State, we only had 14 points. If you look at the Duke game, it took us all the way on a 4th and 16 Sam Hartman run to get a 21 points. So it's not going to be easy, but I think Notre Dame plays very well, and that will set up the USC game next week. So I'm very excited. This is a huge 2 weeks. Notre Dame's season is on the line these next 2 weeks.
How clenched were your body parts during that 4th down run?
I didn't know he had it in him. I felt like it was Peyton.
I didn't know he had enough room. I was like, what is he doing? What is he doing? Okay, you did it.
For some reason, I just kept getting flashbacks to a couple Peyton Manning runs where it felt like it was.
Because, I mean, you got me pulling for your boys because, I don't want your head in the oven. And I'm like, I'm literally, my eyes were like, I was like, oh, my. Oh, okay, he's fine. He had her the whole time. I was like, God bless. Dude.
Well, it's like, did all the defenders go to the end zone to get a water or something? Because there was nobody close.
Well, they turned their back. It was just like the thing with Patrick Mahomes the other night when he was gifted 47 flags to make sure that he would. What the hell was that? But anyway, I mean, you couldn't get more corrupt in that game. But one of his runs that didn't get a flag on it, everyone had turned their back. Because they said, well, Patrick Mahomes doesn't scramble. What? But anyway, they turn their back and he runs for like 23 yards. Mm-hmm. And
missed holding call on that play, by the way.
What's that?
Missed holding call on that play, by the way.
Oh, there were missed holding calls 3 times on that series alone.
Embarrassing.
This is making me hate the Chiefs a lot more now that I think about it.
Well, you know what it is? People are getting the overload in their like. There's that part where you're like, this is fun and exciting. Yep. And it lasts about 35 seconds. And then right after that, everyone goes to Twitter and drags them. Yep. Like next thing you know, they're going to be calling Kelsey a fraud and how Swift isn't that talented. And there's going to be wars on Twitter about it. It's just that's just the nature of it. It happens with everybody. You can't force feeding someone. And see what the powers that be believe is that it'll still make you watch because you're going to hate them.
Yep.
That there may be some truth to that, but I still believe you're only watching because you're a fan. But I think the person who's kind of a quasi NFL fan is not going to turn on Taylor Swift's Chiefs because they hate them. They're just going to go, let's watch something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the people that will suffer are the diehard football fans. As always,
choice but to watch.
It's always.
Even when other people score touchdowns, it's right to the booth with Swift. It's like, come on, just do it for Kelsey.
By the way, Tony goes, Gators 31-17. We are back. The line's 18.5. That's not back.
We're back for beating Vanderbilt.
Tony, I already took your Gators today. I was one of the first ones I dialed up today. They're at home against a terrible Vanderbilt team. Sometimes Vanderbilt can be kind of doing, pain in the ass. This is not one of those teams. The only pain in the ass Vanderbilt is nowadays is to their season ticket holders. Like, I got to go to.
Still have any?
Are they free?
How do I get out of that game later on this month? It's just like the way Bobby's trying to figure out how he's going to get out of this show on the Florida Georgia week. He's like, is that the time that
I'll be doing this?
Can I fake COVID that day?
What's the next game on the docket? North Texas Navy. They are playing today for you North Texas fans.
What? North Texas and Navy is playing today. That wasn't something that you just made up.
No, that's 100. I'm just going through all the games in spring.
Man, I couldn't have told you who North Texas plays.
All right, let's go around the horn. Let's get our analysis of that game.
Yeah. Spread 6.5.
I think Kathy Ireland's going to kick the extra point. Isn't that who she kicked for? One of those
right.
Texas State, whatever the hell it is.
Mm-hmm.
So many good matchups today. Love it.
All right, but sticking with the Southeastern Conference.
Yep.
the Alabama A&M game's got to be the game that everybody,
Mm-hmm.
along with Kentucky, Georgia. By the way, real quick, let's get scores on Kentucky, Georgia.
Okay.
Bobby, you believe in Kentucky. What's the score?
I'm gonna go 28-24, Georgia.
Wow. Okay. Joey, what's the score?
I'm going to go Georgia 35, Kentucky 23.
All right, you got them covering. Tones, what you got?
Gonna go Georgia 27, Kentucky 25. I got Georgia winning by less than a field goal in this one.
There we go.
I've got Georgia. Do they kick a field goal or do they go for it? They go for it. 35-13. 35-13. Probably not that close. It'll probably be a backdoor touchdown. I don't think Kentucky's going to be able to move the ball is the problem.
That's fair.
And Georgia will methodically, through we know how long college football games are. They will methodically score 14 to 20 points in the first half, another 2 touchdowns in the second half. So it sounds like this big butt kicking. It's not really what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I just think Kentucky's going to have a hard time moving the ball, and eventually Georgia's going to put it out of reach.
Yeah, that's fair.
I hope I'm wrong, and I hope it's a close game and we got something really, dig our teeth into. It's a 7:00 game. Yeah, 7:00. Oof. That's right, Miller Braves, Phillies. I may not be sinking anything into anything. I might just be seeing the score in the background. Although college football game lasts 4.5, 5 hours, so
yeah,
it'll be halftime by the time the Braves Phillies game ends. So other things on the Southeastern Conference. I mean, real quick, Florida Vanderbilt. 18-point spread. Bobby, what you got?
Florida should blow them out of the water. Like you said, it's a terrible Vanderbilt team, especially after an embarrassing loss last week. At home, I think Florida gets it done big. I'd say 42-13.
Joey, what you got?
I'm not going much different than that. I do think Florida takes care of business today. I'm going to go Florida 41, Vanderbilt 14.
Tones, any different?
This is the time of year that Vanderbilt really starts crapping their pants after they start off okay football. I think Florida does blow them out of the water today, though. Vanderbilt's beyond broken right now, and I think Florida hogs washes them. I got Florida winning this one. We'll be a little nice. We'll go with 37-24. We'll go with the 13-pointer.
37-24. All right. I'll put a cap on it. Vanderbilt, seriously. Come on. I don't even know how they kept it 45-28 versus Kentucky. I really don't. But
I think Jay Cutler played.
They lost to UNLV. They were smoked by a very below-average Wake Forest team. The only games that they won was AAMU and Hawaii.
And they barely beat Hawaii.
Right, and Hawaii's not. This isn't the Hawaii team. What was his name? Timmy something.
Timmy Chang.
Yeah, Timmy Chang.
Chang.
Although this is Timmy Chang's Hawaii, this isn't the Timmy Chang quarterback to Hawaii. I believe he's the coach there now. Timmy Chang ain't gonna get out there and sling any arrows. So, look, Vanderbilt, Florida, 55-6. It's gonna be gut stomping. Vanderbilt's awful.
They are bad. They're really bad.
And it'll be later on this evening. You'll start hearing Vanderbilt fans talk about, I can't wait for college baseball season.
Yeah. No kidding.
I'll never forget, man. I was doing security MTSU Vanderbilt years ago at the game in Nashville, and I'm doing security that night. So I did it a little bit at the stadium, and then they transferred us over to one of the frat houses at Vanderbilt. MTSU upset Vanderbilt, and I'll never forget this. As Vandy kid comes out, sits down. He's about blotto. Sits down in this chair. I'm standing outside. I'm just there to check IDs. One of the easiest gigs I've ever had. He just sits down. You don't hear this in Middle Tennessee much. He goes, "Well, I got to clean it up." But he basically says, "Gosh darn it, I really hate football season. Loud as he could say it. And I looked over and I started laughing. I was like, what? I was like, this is like this best time of year in Middle Tennessee. He goes, no, it's not. Because every other part of the year, I tell people I go to Vanderbilt, and they're like, man, that's awesome. And I tell them I'm going to be a doctor. They go, man, that's awesome. I tell them I go to Vanderbilt in September or October. You know what they say? Y'all suck. One other game in the SEC that is of interest: 3-2 LSU at undefeated Missouri. Missouri's still kind of going under everybody's radar, but they are 5-0. They're at home. LSU coming off a tough loss. It's a noon kickoff. I think LSU could be in big trouble here. They're 5.5-point favorites, but I think Missouri, and it's not that LSU can't score, it's that their defense, we saw it unfold in the second half of the Florida State game. We saw it unfold against Ole Miss. Their defense is light years behind their offense right now.
Yeah.
And if I'm taking that game, I'm taking Missouri in the points.
Yeah, Missouri's looked really good this year, and they've been fun to watch. They've been a treat to watch. Now the thing will be, will they finish the season? We've seen Missouri start like this before, and the walls came tumbling down. I think LSU is overrated this year, though. I like Missouri in this one with the points at home.
Give me a prediction.
I think Missouri wins, and I think they win slightly, but I think a win's a win here, and I'm going to go with let's go with 31-30, a 1-point thriller. Missouri getting the best of LSU, the over coming in, and Missouri covering.
What is the over in that game? About 60?
Yep, it's right around 60.
64.5.
Give or take a little bit.
All right. Bobby, what you got?
I'm going to take LSU winning a very close game. I'm going to have them winning by a field goal, 30-27. But in the chance that LSU does lose this game, which is a very real possibility, you called it before the season, Brian Kelly might be in trouble. Might be in big trouble.
He said it famously, we're going to beat the heck out of Florida State. So.
And they did not do that.
He never said that. Remember, he retracted it.
I was misquoted. What? Well,
you think
you heard isn't what you heard.
Okay.
Who are you, the president? Shut up.
Yeah.
Joey, give me a prediction.
Don't even get me started on this Ponzi scheme that Brian Kelly runs over there, that loser total manipulating slime duck. When he tried to talk in his slang country voice and he did weird videos with his players, it was all downhill. Yeah, exactly. I don't even know what you call that, but I hope it's off of every social media platform so people aren't puking tonight while watching this game. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Mac, you do it better than he did, but I'm going to go.
How is he not like somehow trying to link himself to Taylor Swift somehow, right? Like it just seems like it would be that thing. What's the score today?
You know what? I was going to say something great, grand gold. I'm going to go Missouri 35, LSU 2. This game is going to be a pitiful mess. And down, Brian Kelly.
Is Jaden Daniels just going to go on strike before the game or something? What are we talking about?
He's just going to throw it out the back of the end zone first play of the game. But no, in reality, I'll go Missouri 35, LSU 28.
It's against my better judgment because normally this is a recipe for a loss because you're going on the road after a tough game and you might be taking a little light. But my biggest question, especially after watching that Kansas State game last night, how good is Missouri really, right? And look, they barely beat MTSU in Missouri. They squeaked past Memphis in Missouri. Give me LSU to win, but I don't think they cover the spread. I think it's going to be an old-fashioned barn burner. Give me I'll take a traditional score, 42-38. Jaden Daniels drives the length of the field, end of the game. My God, Brian Bosworth is on TV. I didn't know that dude was still and he looks normal. If you'd have told me Brian Bosworth's about to be on TV, I'm like, I got to see this shot.
Well, he's going to be with Pat McAfee and Baker Mayfield, so there could be a lot of mug shots on the screen coming up soon.
Yeah, I would assume they're going with what's his name for the guest picker, because I've already seen them show his face. Matthew McConaughey?
Oh yeah, he is there too. I think him and Baker have been there. Yeah.
There's Baker Mayfield, there's Brian Bosworth, and then there's all the way up there.
He takes the cake.
If Matthew McConaughey gets bumped for one of them, he's going to be all right, I'll never be back. That's not going to turn out well.
Texas forever.
Texas forever, baby. Alabama A&M. This game. This is the most intriguing game. It's one of the games that I'm staying away from. I'm probably going to take A&M on a teaser to get me above the favorable line. But there was a rumor circulating in Tuscaloosa around Wednesday that Milroe would not play. Now come to find out that was all a hoax. But this is a road game. I believe it's his first road start in the Southeastern Conference. We saw what happened with Georgia last week. And though I'm not impressed by Texas A&M, they are at home. They're a much different animal at home. They've got a solid defensive front. This feels like an old-fashioned rock fight. Joey, what's the score?
Man, I've been going back and forth on this one all day, literally trying to think of who will come out on top. Alabama has not been the most impressive Alabama as we've seen over the past decade, obviously going on the road today. I think Texas A&M slightly squeezes this game out. I'll go A&M 27, Alabama 23.
And real quick, because we're going to have to hit the break, what is your stupid underdog in your lock today?
Let's do it. I'm going to go to the Big Ten for my stupid underdog. I know Maryland's not going to pop to many people when they hear that name, but with Tunga Viola over there, Ohio State, not to me being as impressive as they are in past years, I'll take them as my super underdog. I think they for sure cover and keep it close. So if that will be my stupid underdog, I'll take Maryland. And then my lock, I'm going to go with my Irish since it stayed at 6.5. I believe they win by more than 7 or more points. Louisville has been a nice story, a huge Power 4 team, as we all know. But in reality, Notre Dame will get the lock here. So I'm going to go to Notre Dame minus 6.5, and then Maryland is my stupid underdog.
What's the one big thing that happens today?
The one big thing that happens today is I'm not sure who it's going to be, but one of the undefeateds between Ohio State, Georgia. I'm sure I'm missing a couple, but someone big's going down today that's undefeated outside of the Oklahoma-Texas game, because obviously that's 2 5-0 teams. But I think we're going to see one huge upset from either Georgia or Ohio State.
All right.
Probably not, but hey, you got to be big. We're going big and bold. I'm beautiful today. Big, bold, and beautiful.
The hell today? Georgia or Ohio State?
I'm going to Ohio State. I truly believe that. I don't think their offense is very good, and I do think Maryland is not a fake team. I think they're not phonies. I think they're pretty damn good.
All right, brother. We will see you next time. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we got Steven on the way. We're going to talk a little more college football, get into the world of the NFL. Keep it locked in here with the three amigos and Steven. I see him in the bullpen. We'll get him out here in just a second. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Radio Show here on Braves Country Radio.
Armchair. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. The college football slate gets rolling at noon Eastern. We'll hit the big ones to start it off. Southern Cal is at Colorado. The Trojans, 21.5-point favorite, over under 73.5. That game can be seen on Fox. While number 6, Penn State, is at Northwestern on the Big Ten Network. Nittany Lions, a 26.5-point favorite. And at 12 Eastern on ESPN, one of your better matchups of the day. Number 22, Florida Gators are 1-point underdog at the Kentucky Wildcats. Kentucky is undefeated. Game is in Lexington. 3:30 Eastern, the Georgia Bulldogs hunker down onto the plains of Auburn, one of the oldest rivalries in all of college football. Number 1, Georgia is a 14-point favorite. The over-under, 45.5. 3:30 Eastern, number 2, Michigan is at Nebraska. Wolverines, 17-point favorites, over-under 39. Kansas, 24 in the land, at number 3, Texas. That game is 3:30 on ABC. Longhorns, 16.5-point favorites, over-under is 61. Number 23, Missouri is at Vanderbilt. SEC Network, 4 Eastern. Missouri, minus 13.5, the over-under 54.5. And at 6 Eastern on ESPN, the LSU Tigers are 2.5-point favorites at Ole Miss. The over-under is 67. 7:30 on ABC, you get number 11 Notre Dame at Duke. And over on the SEC Network, the South Carolina Gamecocks, 12-point dogs in Knoxville to the University of Tennessee. The Alabama Crimson Tide, number 12 in the country, 14.5-point favorites at Mississippi State. Cowbells will be a-ringing. The over-under is 46.5. Undefeated number 7, Washington, is a 19-point favorite at Arizona. 65.5 is the number. And number 25, undefeated, Fresno State, hosts Nevada, who is winless. The Bulldogs are a 24.5-point favorite. Other games going on in the Southeastern Conference today. 12 Eastern on the SEC Network. A&M is at Arkansas. The Aggies, a 6-point favorite, over under 53.5. In the ACC, 2-2 Clemson is at undefeated Syracuse. The Tigers, 6.5-point favorites, over under 53. That is noon on ABC. The CW Network at 2 o'clock is covering Boston College hosting Virginia. The Golden Eagles, 3.5-point favorite, over under 53.5. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets are 22-point favorites at home against Bowling Green. The Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech is a 3:30 kickoff on ACC Net. And on the ACC Network at 8 Eastern, it's Pittsburgh at Virginia Tech. The Panthers, a 2.5-point favorite, over under 39.5. 3-1 Iowa is at home against Michigan State. That's on Peacock. The Hawkeyes, 12.5-point favorite as they try to rebound from the blowout, over under 36.5. That's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Newnan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com at Braves Country. You're listening to WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Newnan, Georgia, home of Braves Country with Mac Magee and the Armchair Quarterbacks, weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, right here on The Key and youtube.com at Braves Country. Hey, Braves fans, Mac Magee here with Braves Country Radio. You can find us on youtube.com/at Braves Country. We're bringing you pitch by pitch, play by play of your Atlanta Braves all postseason long. Hear us right here on the radio or find us on YouTube today. You can jump in the chat with all the Braves fans during the game and listen along as the Braves march through Choptober. That's Braves Country Radio, youtube.com/at Braves Country.
Well, the season's finally here, and the players hit the field, and every man feels like a boy, and every wife could kill. 'Cause he's the armchair quarterback. He's
Welcome back.
Snacks, the
Armchair Quarterbacks coming your way every Saturday. Man, this is year 10 of this. Surprised all our wives haven't left us. How are you, Steven?
And I'm doing great. It's, like I've been having to focus on baseball so much. I mean, I know, Magee, you still have it with the Braves. All that is done for me. It is football time. I am ready for this weekend.
No, I'm fine, man. I'm not worried at all about this game today. Y'all can't see it, but I've been hiding a paper bag here. I've been hyperventilating in during the break. Man, today's game to me is the biggest one they'll play all year, because if they get off to a good start, they win today. I think the Braves are going to be fine. They go out there, they spit the bit, they lose. You're going to be like, here we go again. Here we go again. And then we're going to have to listen to the Philly fans flap their gums, and it's going to be terrible. And then you can't even get back to it the next day. You got to wait a damn day because they're taking Sunday off. So you got to fret about it. And to top it off, you would have Max Fried coming off of the IL with a finger blister that you're going, I don't know. Can he pitch more than 2 innings? I don't know. Here we go. So
I just wish to save the series for later.
Yeah, other than that, I've slept like a baby all week. And I was desperately pulling for your Marlins, man. I was like, let's go. Because if we're going to get upset, I'd rather get upset by the Marlins than the Phillies, right? And then they don't even like push them to like 3 games or nothing. I was like, God, what happened to you, Jorge Soler? You were once a hero. Hey, by the way, have you heard what the hell's going on with Arias? He looked like he was limping all series. Every time he would head down to first.
I forget exactly what happened, but it was the last week of the season. He did something stupid, like slip down the stairs in the dugout and sprained his ankle.
Yeah, he just came back from an injury right before that, and then he hurt himself more. He only played once in that last week when they clinched a playoff spot, and it was a pinch hit appearance. And then you could tell in the postseason he was visibly not 100%.
I still go back to this, and I know I'm probably going to beat this dead horse, but I got to get it out of my system. I felt like Shoemaker missed an opportunity. If they believe it was the 5th inning, game 2, it was still just 3-0. There was a runner on first, nobody out. Jacob Stallings was at the plate. And this isn't revisionist history. I mentioned it during the broadcast, right? So I was mentioning like just before, I was like, you got to pinch hit for him here. You got to pinch hit for him here. Because Stallings is a terrible batter. He's slow as like me, right? And you're asking for a problem. And if you can get out of this at bat without like something terrible like a double play happening, you got the top of the order coming. And if you really scratch out a run, maybe 2, you don't know how that game unfolds, right? Because it's different mindset the whole 9 yards. Instead, Stallings bangs into an easy 4-6-3 double play, and that to me was the game because right after that, Philly hit the grand slam, and it was like, all right, here we go. Don't get me wrong, I like Shoemaker. I just felt like the moment was too big. I don't think he understood or grasped the fact that was your opportunity to score, right? That was your opportunity to do something because there is no tomorrow. Let's go. Let's get after it. Anyways, I'll let it go. I think Shoemaker's doing a great job. I think, what's her name? Kim Wynn. I think she's doing an outstanding job. It's just disappointing. I want to see Miami push it to 3 at least. But anyways, at least we get to watch the Dodgers slaughter the Diamondbacks in the first round. Bobby, we're trying to make him into a baseball fan, and his Rays don't show up.
Yeah.
No, not
swept by the Rangers.
We're not talking about that.
No, we're not talking about that. Is right.
You know, it's funny. Someone made a video, and they said, what's really funny about it is a bad TikTok video, but you know how they're bad, you still watch them. And he goes, "There's the funny thing is the Rays had not won a series. What would they say since 2000? Was it 2011 or 2012? It was one of the two. They had not gotten to. Anyways, the point of the joke was, and Wander Franco's girlfriend was only 5 at the time, and everybody in the comments go, "No, she was 2. She was 2. She was 2," because they're like, "Dude," and the math tracked. It's like she's 14. She's not 17. If she was 17, this whole thing wouldn't have been a thing.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, though, just like the Trevor Bauer thing, I shall wait on this situation to let it unfold. You know,
a little less lenient on this one because you're talking about kids, and also
allegedly,
there's no excuse for a grown man to be snuzzled in a picture with a 14-year-old girl. That's all I'm saying.
Allegedly,
unless it's his daughter, or you know, and even then, he better not be filming that from deep Alabama or the woods of Kentucky, because I'm gonna have questions. Zing.
Allegations. I mean, we're seeing Mel Tucker fight his way back now. We've seen Trevor Bauer. We'll see what happens here. Doesn't look great, but I'm not gonna.
Alabama, Kentucky. What the hell did I do to you? Well, I spent time in Middle Tennessee. That was always the low hanging fruit. We were either making fun of someone from Kentucky or someone from Alabama.
Yep.
And I'm sure no jokes were made about people from Tennessee. I'm sure there's none out there.
Oh man,
Oblivious to the whole situation. All right, let's get into it. College football. We didn't really get the picks because we had to go to break. The big one on the board that we haven't really dove into. Look, this Alabama A&M game. This is the most intriguing game of the day, mainly because if Alabama loses, you're talking about being out of the college football playoff conversation. In all reality, the first week of October.
Mm-hmm.
That's not Nick Saban like.
No.
I know in theory they could run the table, and if they were to beat like an undefeated Georgia, what's her name? Something Denish, whatever her last name is, on ESPN, she'll talk Alabama's way into the playoffs. What the hell is her name? She's been on ESPN for years. But anyway, she's always, I want to say Michelle Denish, but I don't think it's Michelle. It's something Denish. She started off on the ACC side of things, and ever since they put her on like mainstream ESPN, she's just been bootlicking Alabama in the SEC ever since. But outside of her, most people are like, dude, you can't lose to A&M and Ole Miss and tell me that you're a playoff team.
Yeah.
If Jimbo loses, what if he gets blown out at home?
Oof. If this is a blowout, especially with how bad that Alabama offense has been, if this is a blowout, then Jimbo's in trouble. That's going to be a tough buyout, though.
Steven, you got to be pulling for A&M because if A&M wins, kind of helps your resume, right?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does, but it's also do I really want to be pulling for Jimbo in this matchup?
Yeah. I mean, my answer is always no. But it's really, really difficult when he plays Alabama because I'm like,
and also as a Dolphins fan, I get Saban on the other side, so I'm yeah. I almost got to go Jimbo in this matchup. So yeah, I'm all A&M today.
I'm more pulling for the chaos of it, right? Because I don't believe A&M's a real contender, so they can win. But what does A&M have left on their schedule? They go to Tennessee. Is that that's next week. At home against South Carolina, at Ole Miss, Mississippi State, ACU. I don't know, is that Alcorn Central University? I don't know what that is. Comes to A&M and then at LSU.
I mean, if we're being real about it, I don't think at the end of the season Alabama or A&M are going to be a real factor in any playoff or.
No, but if Alabama, because of their DNA, as I guess their culture, as everyone likes to say, they will put Alabama in the playoffs.
Oh no! I'm saying even if they win today, Alabama's going to find a way to knock themselves out of that contention before the end of the season. They are not the Alabama we've seen in previous years.
I would think so, but they don't have that many games left. I mean, they got Arkansas next week. They're home against Tennessee. I don't think Tennessee's got much of a chance of beating them in Alabama. Then they're at home against LSU, and then they're at home at LSU. I will say this: November could be rocky. They're at home against LSU, whose defense is terrible, but their offense can light it up. They're at Kentucky, which could just be you're talking about a rock fight. I mean, that just stinks of 9-7. And then they finish it all off at Auburn, which Auburn's defense is good enough to keep it interesting in the Iron Bowl. But if they get past A&M, you start going, all right, here we go. Because I guess what I'm getting at is the winner of this is probably the favorite to get to the SEC championship game, right? I mean, LSU's already got 2 losses. I don't believe in Ole Miss. So the winner of today's game has the inside track to get to Atlanta. If you get to Atlanta, all you got to do is pull that upset off.
And Alabama, although they didn't look great to start, they're looking a little bit more like Bama by the week, right? They had back-to-back big wins against Ole Miss and Mississippi State now. I think they do a good amount of damage against A&M today. I don't really see this one as a close game, if I'm being honest.
And I'll tell you what, that quarterback Milroe, I have become a fan of this kid. I wish I would have had time to grab the clip. He was interviewed after the Alabama game last week, and someone had asked him something to the effect of Nick Saban riding his ass when he came off the sideline. And it was pretty funny how he put it. He said, man, he was mad. He was heading our way. He goes, man, he's mad at someone. He goes, oh, he's mad at me. and so he finishes the conversation. And short of it, he said, look, you come here, you want to be coached. You want to be coached hard. And when you make mistakes, you know he's going to get onto you, but it's out of love. Basically, he said, look, this is what I got from it. Milroe's draft stock rose through the roof because I don't know what his career is going to be like at Alabama, but if you come down to it and you're an NFL GM and you're thinking about drafting him over drafting some knucklehead who is, more worried about NIL deals and whatnot, that's going to be the kid that you're going to want in your quarterback room.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try to get the clip for next week, and because it's relevant no matter when you hear it, but I think you'll be impressed by him because it was just so funny. Oh, he's mad at me.
Looking around, me?
We've all been there. Damn, my boss is angry. Damn, he's mad. He's angry at me.
Or when you see a cop pulling someone over, oh, what sucker is that? Next thing you know, you're the one in the lane.
Oh man, I'm the one in the handcuffs. This sucks. All right, Alabama and A&M. It's a 2-point spread, so I really shouldn't factor into which way you're leaning. Steven, what's your prediction on?
I think Alabama's going to end up winning it, unfortunately.
What's the score?
30-27.
Bobby, what say you?
I think Alabama's going to edge out a close one. Their offense sucks, but I think they get the job done. I'm going to say 20-17, low-scoring game.
All right. Tones, what you got?
Alabama 38, A&M 21.
I got A&M pulling off the upset, but it's going to be ugly. A stupid score, like give me 18-16. Like it's just going to be like one of those games where you're like, God bless. Why did I bet money on this? Now I got to watch it. This sucks.
My eyes.
Now, I'll tell you what, though, if Alabama goes out there and puts on a show and wins handily, they're going to go flying back up the charts. Yeah. Especially if Texas wins today, then it's just everyone's going to say, well, Alabama lost to a really good Texas team. Speaking of Texas, Oklahoma, we haven't talked about that one yet, and that is the biggest national game on the stage. Texas has been impressive. Oklahoma, they've sputtered a little bit, but all in all, you can't really pick apart what they've done. They're undefeated. They haven't played a daunting schedule, but Oklahoma, first of all, I was shocked how bad they beat Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was it 50-20 is what I'm looking at? Yeah. But outside of that, look, they haven't really been tested. Arkansas State, SMU, Tulsa, Cincinnati. This isn't a couple of years ago, Cincinnati, Iowa State. Tones, what's your score on this one?
I'm going with the close one. I think Dylan Gabriel's really done a tremendous job ever since he's manned under center at Oklahoma. And I got this one closer than people think. I got Oklahoma covering this game, actually. I got them going down, but I do have a cover. I got Texas winning this one 33-30. I think it's going to be a nice competitive game. I think Oklahoma hangs tough, and I think they show the world that although they might not win this one, they're there to hang with the big boys.
Bobby, what say you? The line, I believe, is 5.5.
Mm-hmm.
It's down to 4.
I'm seeing it at 5 right now on ESPN, but depends where you're looking.
Okay.
Either way, I think Oklahoma covers. I think Oklahoma covers. I think it's a very close game. I got Texas winning. I'll give it a score of 31-27. This is Oklahoma's first real test of the season. Haven't beaten anyone good yet. I think this test is going to be a little bit too much, but I think Oklahoma looks good in this game.
Steven, what say you?
I do think Texas is going to pull this one out. Like it is saying 5 on ESPN, but it has moved down to 4 now on several books.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that Texas is going to end up pulling it off. I think they're clearly the better team this year. Give me 30-20.
I think Texas is. Here's the thing with this game: we either get a nail biter, or we get like a huge disaster where you're like, man, I look forward to this game, and we get 50-0 or whatever. And it's been on both sides. There have been years where I've been excited, man, Texas might have a chance to upset Oklahoma or vice versa, and it ends up just being like 66-14. You're like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
This reeks of that. I think Texas is going to cruise. I got Texas winning this game. I got them winning by 17 or more. Give me like, they don't like to play defense a lot in the Big 12. Give me 45-28. Texas has impressed me, and normally I'm the first one that's pushing back on Texas, saying, but they went into Alabama, they beat Alabama. Sarkisian is getting this team, this entire program ready for the Southeastern Conference. Man, how fun are these matchups going to be next year when you get Texas, Oklahoma going up against all the SEC brands, the Alabamas, the Georgias. We haven't seen what that schedule looks like yet, have we? The SEC schedule, the new one.
I think so.
Real quick, before we lose Tones in the world of the National Football League, I know your boys are off. At least they better be off because Baker Mayfield's at the game today.
Pulling a Dennis Rodman, just going out the day before. Or a Tom Brady from last year, you could say.
Okay. Tony says that the schedule is out. Okay.
Oh.
And you've already got so we already know what I'm most curious about is who does Oklahoma and Texas play. I'll pull that up at the break. Gators go to Austin. I thought he said Auburn at first. Gators go to Austin. Oh, wow.
Woo!
Hot coffee coming in.
Ooh.
We got to
go to Texas.
Year. Bob, it's going to get ugly. Wow.
I'm
Gators
liking this
go to Austin. They're going to have to get Sarkisian to fall off the wagon right before that game. They're going to take him out and get him slobber knocked. But Tones, in the world of the Southeastern, the NFL, we've gone over a couple of games, but the one that we haven't gotten your take on yet, San Francisco Cowboys Sunday night. That's the big one. That's the one everyone's got circled.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you leaning on this? It's a 3.5-point spread.
I think it's going to be a very close game, and I think San Fran is above everybody else in terms of just pure talent and team. But I like the Cowboys covering this one, 3.5. The way the Cowboys have been getting after it this year. Yeah, they had a flunk game against Arizona where they got their butts kicked in. But other than that, they look like a really competitive squad this year. And San Fran in a night game, interesting environment, but give me the Cowboys getting that 3.5 points. I think that they hang in there, they cover, and they play a really competitive football game. And I think the last guy Brock Purdy wants to see out there is Micah Parsons. I think, this Cowboys defense is going to come ready to play, and I think they give San Fran their biggest challenge to date. I think it's a really good one for the Sunday night football crowd.
I, too, think Dallas is going to cover, and it doesn't really seem logical because San Francisco's looked so damn good so far. But the NFL never makes sense. And I think this is also going to almost have like a playoff-type atmosphere. And if you remember that playoff game last year, Dallas fought them to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like it took every blood, sweat, and tear for them to get that W. And then they might as well have lost because then the next week they're playing with like their punter behind center, and it was a disaster. But, I think San Francisco actually might lose this one, but I wouldn't predict that. I'll take the Cowboys to cover. I've been saying it all week, 24-21. But, man, it's one of those games where it would not shock me for Dallas to give them their first loss.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby, what is your prediction on that one?
I'm going to go a different route here. I think the 49ers, they look unstoppable. The Cowboys, they obviously they lost to the Cardinals. I saw it firsthand. They're a beatable team. And the 49ers, they look too good. I think they're going to run through the Cowboys. Give me 30-17.
And, Steven, what say you?
Yeah, Bobby and I are on the same train. Especially given that Trayvon Diggs is gone for the year for the Cowboys. Yeah. He's one of their best players on defense, and you need him to be able to contain Ayuk, Debo, Kittle, McCaffrey. The list goes on. Mm-hmm. San Fran is going to win this handily. 30-17 is right about where I had it.
Oh, wow. All right. I don't believe it. I got to see it to believe it. I just feel like NFL is always everyone's always a prisoner of last week, right?
It pains me to say it though. I don't want to say it because I hate the 49ers.
The thing is, it's not often that McCaffrey gets outmatched, and Michael Parsons might be a better player than Christian McCaffrey. So that's going to be a really interesting one to watch.
What I really wish that we would have had a Cowboy game last week, like the Arizona game, or just struggled to beat New England, because this line would be up over 4.5, 5 points. It would be a steal. But because they look so good, it's fell back down. But Tones, what is your stupid underdog and your lock?
Stupid underdog. I'm rolling with the Gentlemen of Wyoming. They play tonight. They're home against Fresno State, 8:00 Eastern. Fresno State's actually made their way into the top 25, but Wyoming had a big-time win earlier this year. They're at home getting 6 points. I like Wyoming for my stupid underdog pick at home, getting the points. And then into the world of lock, I got one for the NFL slate. I'm going with New England in a pick 'em at home tomorrow against the Saints. Pretty much a must-win game for the Patriots. They played their worst football ever last week. I think Bill Belichick is his guys ready to roll. And on the opposite end of the token, Derek Carr looks pretty hurt for the Saints. And Dennis Allen isn't that great of a coach, in my opinion. I've been getting him exposed. So give me the Patriots with my lock and Wyoming +6 for my.
Which one big thing?
One big thing is, after tonight's games, Penn State's going to have, even though they didn't play this week, they're going to even have a stronger case on why they might win the Big Ten. I think Ohio State and Michigan might show some struggles out there.
All right, brother. We'll see you next time, and try to get your brother's computer cleaned up. Give him some baby wipes or something.
You're going to need to give me a lot of Clorox for that. Have a good one, fellas.
A hazmat suit. All right, we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Okay, so this week, Alabama, Texas A&M. What we decided to do was armadillo eggs. If you're not familiar with them, really good. Wife's idea, so we want to give her credit for that. All right, this is what we're going to do with them. We are going to cut and clean your jalapenos. When you cut and clean the jalapenos, you're then going to boil them for 5 minutes. It's going to get all the seeds out, all that nonsense, right? The whole 9 yards. Then we're going to do a cream cheese, and we talk about the Holy Grail, which is equal parts salt, pepper, and garlic salt. You put the Holy Grail in with the cream cheese, and you stuff them in the jalapenos as such. Then, what we're going to do, you see these little sausage balls right here. We're going to put the sausage balls around the jalapenos, one on each side. It's about 2.5 ounces each. And you're going to just kind of cup them. And once you get them good and formed, doesn't have to be perfect, but when you get them good and formed, you are then going to take a piece of bacon and wrap it around. So you're going to wrap it around the bacon. Now you shouldn't have to apply any kind of a substance to keep it wrapped, because the bacon and the sausage should just cook together as such. And then finally, we're going to take some brown sugar and top it. That's going to give a good, nice caramelization, a good, nice glaze. And then we're going to put this in the air fryer for about 15 minutes at about 400 degrees. Just check it, and there you have it. We'll have the final product here in 1 second. All right, so this is the armadillo egg. We're doing it once again because of Texas A&M at home against Alabama, and this should be a pretty good ball game. Could be an upset for the Aggies as they pulled off 2 years ago. Once again, armadillo eggs, like we said, about 15 minutes, 400 degrees in your air fryer. Just kind of feel it out, but this should be the finished product. See how pretty that is? And that's how you know it's cooked off inside. Bama, A&M, Jimbo versus Saban. Let's get it. Braves fans, Mac Magee here with Braves Country Radio. You can find us on youtube.com/@Braves Country. We're bringing you pitch by pitch, play by play of your Atlanta Braves all postseason long. Hear us right here on the radio or find us on YouTube today. You can jump in the chat with all the Braves fans during the game and listen along as the Braves march through Choptober. That's Braves Country Radio. youtube.com/@Braves Country.
Well, the season's finally here, and the players hit the field, and every man feels like a boy, and every wife could kill. He's been flying beer since August, running hot, running cold, and 30 friends are on alert. That's all the den will hold. He's the armchair.
Welcome back. Fix this up a little bit here. As we are that time of week where real quick we give you the our fantasy football lineup of integrity. And following that up, we'll be jumping back into the pick'ems, college football, NFL. We're going to give you your stupid underdog picks, our locks, and you ain't going to want to miss my one big thing. All right. Whose turn is it this week? I can never keep up with this.
Either you or Bobby.
Is it me?
I'm pretty sure I went last week.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll get us started then. I think in one of the higher scoring games of the week is going to be the Falcons and Texans. I got Stroud and his wide receiver one, Nico Collins, at 6,000 and 5,600. Yeah, Collins has had 2 30-point games recently. Stroud's been lighting it up. He's looked like the offensive rookie of the year so far. So I love this stack going into this week.
All right, Steven, what you got?
And that works out perfectly. I'm going to go ahead and take the other side of that game. Mr. Bijan Robinson. He is one of the highest targeted running backs in the NFL, and it looked like last week he was starting to finally take off at 105 yards and only 14 carries. He gets back home this week against Houston has looked good, but their run defense has been abysmal. I think this is going to be the true breakout week for Bijan Robinson. He's at 7,700.
Okay, give me TJ Hawkinson. I think they're going to be playing from behind. They're going to be going up against I know everyone's going to be wanting to grab Travis Kelce because of the Taylor Swift thing. So I want the other side of it. Give me TJ Hawkinson. I think he blows up and has a heck of a game, as that's going to be a high-scoring affair. What you got, Bobby?
I'm going to grab another receiver here. I'm going to go Zay Flowers at 5,500 versus the Steelers. They've been giving up a lot of points to receivers in fantasy this year. And Patrick Peterson, he jinxed it again. He said in week 1 he was going to get a pick on Brock Purdy. This week he had some words to say about Zay Flowers. So I think Zay Flowers is going to torch him. I think he's going to go for at least 100 yards. I'm expecting a big game out of him.
Where are you going, Steven?
I'm just checking numbers here a little bit. All right, so I'm going to save a little bit of money here. Go on the other side of that Kansas City game. At 3,600, give me Rashee Rice. He's looking like he's emerging as the top receiver outside of Travis Kelce. And just like we're talking about how much points are going to be scored in that game. That price, I love the upside.
All right. Let me go to. I'm going to head on. Let's see, where is he at? Receiver. Here we go. I am going to go a little bit off the board because I believe this young man is going to. He's always had good games against the Colts. And I am going to go, where is he at? I just had him a second ago. Well, I'll just have to search him. I'm going to go with Hopkins. I think Hopkins is going to have a good game by the way, steer clear of Jonathan Taylor, because I'm telling you, you're paying way too much for a guy who hasn't played in months. So just temper expectations with Jonathan Taylor. Bobby, back to you.
All right, so let's see. We have 9,400 left. I'll go ahead and grab our defense then. I'll spend a little bit here. I'm going to grab the Lions defense at 3,800 versus the Panthers. I think they're going to be the highest scoring defense this week. The Panthers team sucks, and the Lions have a solid defense. Had some good games this year against some good offenses even. So I'll take the Lions.
And Steven, your running back, who it be?
All right, so I got 5,600. Let me scroll down to using that range. Looking at Ramondre Stevenson, Javonte Williams. Oh, easy for me. Breece Hall right here, 5,400.
What I was looking at too.
Me too. That's what all three of us wanted.
This is a revenge game for their coaching staff. They're going to shut up Sean Payton.
I mean, I don't know if you guys were looking at my computer, but this is basically my personal lineup.
It's close to mine.
I'm loving this.
This is awesome.
That's
Joey taught me a long time ago never to look at y'all's computers, so I learned my lesson on that.
That and Saleh said there's not going to be a carry limit on Breece Hall. That is out of effect now, so Breece Hall is going to be getting as many carries as they can give him.
So real quick, it's C.J. Stroud, Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson, Nico Collins, Flowers, Rice, Hawkinson, Hopkins, and the Detroit Lions defense. And that still gives you $200 to play with if you want to go in there and mess around with it. We are going to keep it as is. And let me never mind. It's already been under. There we go. All right, so let's get out of that and get back to the rest of the story as we are what are we 20 minutes away-ish from kickoff? And looking forward to, I mean, is the one game that you're going to be locked into at noon, is it the Texas game, or do you have your eyes set on something else? Where did he go?
It's basically going to be that. I mean, it's I'm not really seeing anything else too exciting at that 12 o'clock slate, 12 o'clock time.
I'll pay close attention to the LSU Missouri game. Obviously, my main focus will be on Oklahoma and Texas. But that LSU Missouri game, I think that'll be fairly close, and I think it'll be high scoring.
Yeah, I think the early game, obviously, we're gonna have our eyes. The one I'll be listening to is probably LSU Missouri. It probably is. It's mainly because, man, the Red River Rivalry's never done that much for me. Mainly because over the years it's been one-sided. Usually you don't get these, and you don't get these great upsets like you get in the Florida Georgia game where you don't have a dog in the hunt, but you're like, man, you better watch. You don't get the knock 'em out dragouts like you get in the Iron Bowl. Yeah. I will contend it is the most overhyped rivalry in all of college football because they expect us to care. In fact, I heard some knucklehead, I forget his name, but he's on the SEC network, say that it's the best rivalry in college football. And he said it's not particularly close.
In like the state of Texas, maybe. But...
No, he said all of college football. But after he said it, I went back to rewind to make sure I heard he said it. I was like, you kind of have a Texas accent. I don't know where he's from, but I'm thinking this guy's from Houston or something. So anyways, if you were asking me off the cuff and it wasn't this weekend, you asked me in the middle of March, what are the top 5 college football rivalries? It wouldn't even enter. It wouldn't even enter my idea. Top 5, top 10, maybe. Number 1, no way in hell. I mean, I don't even have a dog in the hunt in the Michigan-Ohio State game, and I would have that in my top 5.
Yeah.
So it's got nothing to do with my fandom. It's got to do with, this game's nationally, it's usually not a big deal. Anyways, Washington State, UCLA, that's an interesting game. UCLA's 3-1, but they're a 3-point favorite. Washington State's undefeated. Seems a little fishy about this line. I think a lot of people are going to try to take Washington State in the points, those who have not watched UCLA play football this year. The biggest thing I like about that game is the under. The under in that game. That is going to be – you don't expect it from Pac-12 football, but those are two physical teams. The under is 59.5.
Wow. Really
That's
high.
a lot of points. That is a lot of points. Anything else jumping out at y'all as far as the spreads this week in college football, and we'll dive into the NFL?
Not too much, no.
I like the under in the Miami game, by the way, Steven.
I can see that.
I don't think Miami's going to put the foot down, and there could be a little bit of a looky-loo because isn't next week the North Carolina game, right? Is it North Carolina Miami next? So I don't think they're going to struggle to beat Georgia Tech, but I do think that what is that line now? It was
20.5, I think.
I teased it, so I've got that number in my head. What is it is
20.
8 o'clock. It's 57.
Oh,
57.
yeah. Okay.
Georgia Tech does not move the ball quickly. They're going to try to eat some clock up. They're not what they were a few years ago, where it's the wishbone and a pile of smoke, but it's still not a very efficient offense.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see Georgia Tech backdoor covering, but I don't think Miami's going to struggle. I just think they're going to. So it's going to be one of those ones where, like, you're up by 3 touchdowns, 8 minutes left, and you start going, all right, come on, North Carolina, let's get it. And they're going to sneak in the end zone. You go, son of a. Why did I put my lunch money on that one? What the hell was I doing?
The other one that's got my eye, I'm too I'm not confident enough to take make it my stupid underdog, but Kentucky 14.5 at Georgia. Georgia they have not looked anywhere near as dominant. I think the last 2 years, and they only won by 7 against Auburn last week.
I think Georgia's heard that too much this year. I think Georgia's going to put it on Kentucky tonight. Not like something where it's going to be like, holy crap, 58-0. But it's going to be a methodical. Kentucky can't move the ball because they're not going to be able to run like they did against Florida. And Georgia will put up somewhere between 15 to 20 points in both halves. And you're going to look up and go, man, that game was never what. They're only getting 14.5. Why did I not jump on that? I hope I'm wrong. I hope we get an exciting game.
Yeah.
Georgia, the Auburn game, I think, is what's going to stick out to everybody. But to me, their season really begins tonight.
Well, that South Carolina game, though, that game was too close for comfort. And I obviously wasn't on the show for that game because I was headed down to Florida. But I was telling my friend when I saw that line, it was South Carolina, I think, plus 16.5. I was talking about how high I was on that. And granted, South Carolina didn't end up winning. But they kept it really close. And they were.
But remember, they got blown out in the second half.
They did.
So to your point,
but it still ended up only being a 10-point loss. So they did cover.
Right, but I do believe that Georgia was sleepwalking through that game, and then they turned it on. With Auburn, I still contend that's because first road game for this quarterback, SEC environment. That's not an easy place to win. I don't care how good or how bad they are. And the one thing Auburn does have is that they've got a pretty good front seven, and they can slow you down. Auburn's not going to be some kind of dark horse to get back into the SEC West race or anything.
Yeah. Well, my problem is Georgia. I want to see it before I believe it. They just haven't looked that good this season. They don't look invincible, and they've been doing it against teams that aren't that good.
They were last year, but they could still win the national championship by 3
They
touchdowns.
very well could. I just don't see that dominance that I've seen in years past. And South Carolina, now they don't look as good with that loss to Tennessee last week. They don't look like a great team, and they were struggling with South Carolina in the first half. That Auburn game, I know it was a different circumstance, but that's not a good Auburn team. And now they're playing a 5-0 Kentucky team. So they can't come out sloppy against or as sluggish as they've looked.
All right, here's a fun one. Georgia's on a neutral field today, not January, today.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you taking, Georgia or Texas?
I'll take Texas.
Steven?
From what I've seen.
Yeah, I think Texas just has that mindset vibe advantage right now. I mean, teams are pretty equal, but they feel like they're on top of the world, and that's kind of that's hard to overcome. Sometimes.
What if Georgia, Ohio State, neutral field today?
Georgia.
I'd take Georgia. Ohio State's offense, I don't trust them enough.
They should have lost to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Georgia, Florida State.
Don't make me do this.
Georgia only because I need to see it from Florida State.
And by how
as much as I hate Florida State, I'm a believer in Florida State. I would give them a close win.
Maybe within a touchdown. I'd say
what would be the point spread that you would say, you know what, I'll take Florida State in the points? What would you have to be given? And not something outlandish, but I'm saying what is the lowest you would be like, all right, I can't give up that many points.
Let's say they get 6.5 versus Georgia, I'd be all over Florida State.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
6.7.
I was thinking 15.
Oh, come on. Georgia's not that good this year. We got to be objective about it.
I get it. But
I know they're a scary team in the last couple of years, but this year this team just doesn't look as good.
I watched that Florida State team. A lot of unforced errors in Boston College.
Yeah.
I know they were probably looking ahead, and I know we got the whole thing, they had the flu and all that crap, whatever. I'm talking about what I saw on the field.
I trust the talent of Florida State, though. They got Jordan Travis and Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson, and then on defense, Jared Verse, of course. They got a lot of talent on both sides of the football. I'm a believer in that Florida State team as much as I don't like Florida State.
If you tell me Jordan Travis is healthy, I would say yes.
Yeah.
He has looked banged up ever since he took that hit against Boston College. He was not Jordan Travis against Clemson, and that's my biggest concern. Now, he has time to get healthy.
Mm.
I've been telling people all week long, be careful giving up 24 points to Florida State, even though they've had the week off, and this is only their second home game. That's the most remarkable thing about what Mike Norvell has done, is that he's 4-0. He's beaten two very quality wins, and he's only played one home game against Southern Miss. That's it.
Yeah.
But how long does Jordan Travis play today? Is he still banged up? Or is this an opportunity to see they basically have a 3-headed backup quarterback situation right now at Florida State. So if he's healthy, yeah, I'd probably go ahead and whatever, screw it. Let's go ahead and push the chips in. Let's see hopefully we win the turnover battle. But
yeah,
if Jordan Travis against Georgia is doing the RPO and he is not keeping the ball when they're crashing the edge, they got no chance. They have no chance.
Yeah.
He's got to be that threat to run. And if not, then put someone else in there that'll do it. Or, hey, how about this? How about we quit calling that play? Because Clemson was crashing in because they knew very early on Travis was not keeping the ball.
Mm-hmm.
What if one more? Georgia, neutral site, Michigan.
Man.
Georgia.
I'll take Georgia. I like that matchup for Georgia.
Michigan's been impressive.
They've been impressive, but they also haven't beaten anybody, though.
We got a question.
Michigan be impressive and them just absolutely crater when they really needed to be at their best.
Yeah.
We got a question from Trev. Need to stream a wide receiver. It's Wandale, Michael Wilson, Rashee Rice, Jaden Reed. It's a full PPR. Also wondering between Ferguson and Godare.
With that receiver situation, my mind tells me Rashee Rice, but my mind tells me Rashee Rice, but my heart tells me Michael Wilson as a Cardinals fan. He's been lighting it up, and he looked great last week. Caught a couple of touchdowns in that loss against San Francisco. I think he's going to be more involved, so I like either Rice or Michael Wilson. I think they're both good options.
Steven, what say you?
I mean, it is down to those two for me, Rice and Wilson. I think Wilson's the safer player. Rice has the higher upside.
I like that.
I like Wilson. They're at home. The Bengals, they're 1-3. There's a very good chance they're about to be 1-4.
If they not only does the Bengals need to win this game, they need to win by at least 2 possessions to. And I know the Cardinals have looked very competitive, but man, if they struggle again this week against Cardinals, there's not much hope for that team, which there might not already be.
They had to win last week.
Yeah,
I think
they got stomped by the Titans.
They got blown out in a game that they needed to win, and that
against a not so good team as well.
Right.
The Titans aren't good.
No,
it's embarrassing.
They're better at home, but they're not 27-3.
No, that's
it's very obvious that Burrow is hurt, and they pushed him back out there too quickly, and now I think the season's gone.
Yep.
Because the ACC, the AFC is too tough, and you can't be 1-3. I think they're going to be 1-4. I don't know why in the world Cincinnati's a 3-point favorite. The Cardinals have played really good football at home.
Outside of last week, we've been very good, and that was in San Francisco. So,
is it too far off to say the Cardinals have been the surprise of the NFL this season?
Yeah, I love this Cardinals praise coming out of nowhere.
We expected historically bad play.
Yeah.
You take away that collapse against the Giants in the second half. I mean, this would be a 2-2 team that's about to be. I do not believe any way, shape, or form that Cincinnati is ready to win in Arizona, unless there's some magic healing on Burrow. But man, he's looked hobbled.
Yep, and that defense is going to get after him too. There's not a lot of big names on that Cardinals defense, but Gannon and Rallis, they've been great. They've been lights out.
They knew he was banged up. They should have been on the horn getting Joshua Dobbs.
Yeah,
that's who should have went and got him.
And Dobbs has been playing great. He's not been flashy or anything, not been making any crazy plays, but great game manager, great backup quarterback.
Solid, man. He's that journey. Yep. He's that guy that's not going to make the dumb mistake.
Exactly. That's what you want out of a backup.
You described it perfectly. He's a game manager.
Yep.
And you know why? Because he's literally a rocket scientist.
He's genius.
So
he's not going to make those
not a dumbass.
Yeah.
He's not going to just throw it up in the air. Real quick before we hit the stupid underdog picks, Jets Broncos. I want the prediction. I think this game's got a lot of juice because of the whole, Peyton shooting off his mouth about Hackett, the whole 9 yards. I'm taking the Jets to win. I think the Jets win. I don't know if it's going to be particularly close. I got them winning by 10.
Look, I know Zach Wilson's bad. Granted, he had a great game last week, but I can't make sense of why the Broncos are 2.5-point favorites in this one. That Broncos team is terrible. I know they came back and beat the Bears. That's also a bad Bears team. It's all contradicting, I know, because recent games. But objectively, the Broncos are bad. And the Jets looked solid last week in a game that they arguably should have won against the Chiefs if the refereeing was fair. I got the Jets winning this one pretty handily.
Who's a stupid underdog is barking?
Yeah, underdogs are barking today. Let me tell you about that.
Dogs picking the Jets, that's for sure.
I got the Jets plus winning by 7 to 10 points. Steven, what say you?
I mean, that's what logic says. Everything in my heart is telling me that my heart and brain is telling me that the Jets should dominate this matchup. But is it something just feels off? Like that feeling where it feels like a trap line.
I get that.
And also don't sleep on the fact that the Broncos are out there dealing their players away. They made the trade yesterday.
That's true.
I mean, are they tanking?
Yeah.
That was known. Yeah.
Or did he do that do that trade so he has an excuse when Hackett comes in and kicks his ass tomorrow. Well, you can't expect me to win when I don't have the gross.
Randy Gregory.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Stupid underdogs. Steven, we'll start with you.
All right, I'm going to stick in the ACC today. Give me Marshall over NC State. I think they're it's at 6.5 points right now. NC State is like they just not have looked good all season. They are 3-2, but they're making a switch at quarterback today, going to MJ Morris. I think you got to think that they're going to be pretty conservative with him, given how good Marshall has been. They're on a 9-game winning streak, which is one of the longest in the country. They've already beaten Virginia Tech this year. They beat Notre Dame late last year. This team has. They're very underrated, and I think they have a real shot to win this game.
So you've got Marshall plus 6.5. All right. And Bobby, what's your stupid underdog?
I've been talking about how I think this game is going to be close, and I'm backing that up. Give me Kentucky plus 14.5 on the road against Georgia. I haven't seen enough out of Georgia to believe that they're going to cover here. And I think Kentucky has a very slight chance of pulling this one out. And believe me, I'm going to be rooting hard for them. Give me Kentucky plus 14.5.
Wow, Kentucky plus 14.5. What is your lock? Bobby, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go Texans-Falcons over 41.5. Texans have scored 30-plus points in the last 2 weeks. The Falcons, they have a lot of playmakers on offense, and both defenses aren't particularly good. I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game, and, yeah, so I'll take over 41.5 in that matchup.
Trosh, what is your lock?
I wanted to go in that Texans game as well. I want to mix it up a little bit. I love Texans plus 1.5. But I just kind of get some like some different action. And they get the Rams plus 4. They're getting Cooper Kupp back this week. The offense has just looked fantastic in general. Not only do I think they cover, I think the Rams have a real shot to win this game.
My lock is going to be getting the Arizona Cardinals at 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking Arizona plus 3. I don't feel like that they should be the underdog. I just don't. It's just one of those things. Stupid underdog. Man, there's a lot of tempting ones out here, but I'm going to try to play it a little safe. They have not been as good as advertised in years past so far, and this one's got a decent line to it. It's not a great line. Give me Temple, the Temple Owls, plus 14 against UTSA. They're at home. It looks like, if I can believe AccuWeather, it's supposed to be raining. It's in the 60s. A little slippery ball action for a UTSA team that normally likes to play in domes. Give me the Temple Owls. Woo, woo. Woo, woo. One big thing. Bobby, what's your one big thing?
Get on the underdogs this week in the NFL. The Packers, they're at plus 2.5 versus the Raiders. Jets, they're at plus 2.5 versus the Broncos. And the Texans are plus 1.5 versus the Falcons. I like all three of those teams to win. I think all three of those are going to win. Very confident in that. So, yeah, get on those.
Steven, what's your one big thing?
I mean, we saw it on Thursday night a little bit. Like this is the time of the year where regression starts to hit in the NFL. The Bears, look like they have some life now. We've got some matchups like that are going to be real determinate, real. Like they're going to kind of be that deciding factor of who's real and who's not this year.
All right, so obviously Braves. Phillies tonight. It's too late hanging fruit. Everybody knows I'm going to be doing the game tonight at 6:00, so I'm not making that my one big thing, though I do think Spencer Strider shows up tonight. My one big thing, maybe a little bit of a shocker. So we keep talking about a team getting a second loss that's going to knock them out of the playoff picture, and everyone's pointing to Alabama. The Louisville Cardinals are going to knock out the Notre Dame Fighting Irish tonight and be undefeated, and they're going to storm the field. That's my one big thing. That's my walk-off. Y'all have a great, great afternoon. Good luck to your teams, unless you're playing mine. And we'll see you next time here on the Armchair Quarterback Kickoff Show.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Sports Radio, #1 sports station.
Good afternoon, and this is your Armchair Quarterbacks Sports Flash. Here are your lines for the series in Major League Baseball heading into the ALDS and the NLDS, all of them. Game 1 on Saturday, 1 o'clock Eastern, FS1. You've got the Texas Rangers versus the Baltimore Orioles. Orioles minus 145 on the money line. The over-under is 8. At 445 on FS1, Justin Verlander will be on the bump for the Houston Astros. Astros minus 155, the over-under 8. Phillies and Braves, the big one. TBS, 6 Eastern, and right here on Braves Country Radio. You can catch pitch by pitch, play by play, Braves Country Radio. Find us today, youtube.com/@Braves Country. Atlanta minus 205 on the money line, the over-under 8.5. We won't know the starters for sure until tomorrow, but expect Spencer Strider game 1, Max Fried in game 2. And at 9:20 Eastern on TBS, the final game of the evening. The Dodgers are at home against the Diamondbacks. Clayton Kershaw will go to the mound for LA. They are minus 205 on the money line. The over-under is 8. Real quick on the college football scoreboard as we look forward to a fun day on Saturday. Make sure to catch the Armchair Quarterback Kickoff Show, 9:30 Eastern, right here on Braves Country Radio. It all gets going noon Eastern. The Red River Rivalry. Number 3, Texas hosts number 12, Oklahoma. Longhorns, minus 5.5, the over-under 61. Maryland is at number 4, Ohio State. Buckeyes, 19.5-point favorites, over-under 57. LSU, number 23 in the land. They are a 5.5-point favorite at undefeated Missouri. That game can be seen on ESPN at noon Eastern. The over-under 64.5. Number 5, Florida State Seminoles. 3:30 Eastern, ABC. They'll host the Virginia Tech Hokies. The Noles, 22.5-point favorites, over under 53. The SEC on CBS sees number 11 Alabama, a 2-point favorite at Texas A&M. The over under 46. Number 14 North Carolina hosts Syracuse, who's 4-1. North Carolina, 9.5-point favorites. The over under 59.5. And the number 1 Georgia Bulldogs hunker down in between the hedges. They'll face the number 20 Wildcats of Kentucky. Kentucky coming off a big W against the Florida Gators. The Wildcats are getting 14.5. The over-under 47.5. Number 10 Notre Dame is at number 25 Louisville. That game is the ABC Saturday night game of the night. The Fighting Irish, minus 6.5, over under 54. Number 2 Michigan on Peacock Saturday night. They're giving up 18.5 on the road at Minnesota. Number 16 Ole Miss, 11.5-point favorites at home against the Arkansas Razorbacks. The number is 62.5. Undefeated, untested Miami Hurricanes at home, 8 o'clock Eastern on the ACC network. The Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech, the over-under 57.5. Number 9 Southern Cal is at home against Arizona. 10:30 kickoff, ESPN. They're a 3-touchdown favorite. And that's your Armchair Quarterback Sports Flash. Stay tuned for Braves Country right here on WQEE 99.1 FM, The Key in Newnan, Georgia, simulcasting on youtube.com.